weak students, is it? Please come front. I promise you I will not ask you questions. But I'm that kind of a person who is very well known from LKG days not to keep up his promises. So come in front. Okay, she's already writing something. Right. Ho gaya kya? Live class? Right, thank you. Hello guys, I'm UMESH and I've been given the responsibility to teach you art and culture from the prelims perspective. How many of you like art and culture basically? No one, right? 1, 2. Okay. Most of the people don't like art and culture, and the reason for that happens to be it is too factual, right? And you don't really know what kind of googlies and doostras the UPSC will throw at you on that particular year. But if you look at the previous year question papers, you will find a certain pattern. There are a certain number of topics from which UPSC asks questions. There are certain darling temples of UPSC, darling sculptures, okay? And if you combine these two static part with your current affairs, that should be more than enough. And for current affairs, do you prefer reading newspapers or is it monthly magazines and such kind of things? PD365. Very confident answer. No Sunyas, no other magazines, is it? I was in Delhi in the year 2015. How many of you are from proper Delhi? Okay, anyone from South India? I'm from Bengaluru, basically. Right, anyone from South India? No, right. So I came to Delhi, 2015, very enthusiastic, all right, waiting to clear UPSC examinations. Fast forward to 2022, I'm again back to Delhi as a lecturer. Look at the irony of life. I was in Delhi for 8 months, okay? Now tell me, how long have you been in Delhi? More than 8 months, is it? What do you think about Delhi? What's your name? Yeah. What do you think about Delhi? Nothing? Extreme weather climates, yes, yes. Winter is also extreme. Summer is also very extreme. Apart from that, anything?
Polluted city.
Polluted city. So many cities in India are polluted. Mixtures of cultures and societies. Very good. Art and culture.
So in the perspective of UPSC preparation,
they
have study materials available.
They sell study materials as if they're selling vegetables on road. More opportunities, is it? Okay. Mini India, right, very nice. This is older part of the city, right? And if you go to newer part of the city, it's even better in terms of basic facilities. I told you in 2015 when I came, I was very enthusiastic, very encouraged to clear UPSC examinations. By the end of 8 months, I had anxiety, I had starting levels of depression and demotivation. One of the reasons for that was quite simple. In Delhi, I just went through this road. My hotel is in Old Rajendra Nagar itself. So many of the things that I had experienced in 2015, those places are still there. I came across a shop where they were selling all these materials available. Looking at it gives me depression. So many of the things that you have to read. And for art and culture, people refer you so many materials. From the prelims perspective, keeping 2022 in mind, I just want you to do few things. The slides, based on which the teaching will be done, I'll make sure that it reaches you. Go through the slides, the important topics that I think is very crucial for art and culture purposes, just revise them once. There's one book called as Class 11 What class 11? Tamil Nadu NCERT. Just read that. Okay? Apart from that, there's one more very good book that you people like. I don't like it, but you people like it. Nitin Singhania. Selectively read those chapters. Okay? Nothing more than that. If you do this for art and culture, much more than enough. You will be able to answer good amount of questions in a relatively easier time with better and high accuracy. Okay? Any questions vis-a-vis what are the sources that you need to read or anything like that? Anything like that? No? Okay. How's the Josh for art and culture? Hi. I know you guys are lying. Anyways, let it be. She told me that Delhi is like multiple cultures present in the city. Our class name is art and culture. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between art and what is the meaning of culture? Art and culture, what is the difference? What is the culture of Delhi? Tell me.
So art can be tangible, but culture is usually intangible.
Very typical UPSC person. Make things complicated. Imagine as if you're explaining it to a person who does not know what tangible and intangible means.
So art could be a drawing made on a piece of paper.
Very good.
We can touch.
Uh-huh.
Culture we cannot touch, but then we can feel, we can see it.
We can experience it. Masakali, Delhi 6. Right. What's your name?
Namrata.
Yes, Namrata. Go ahead.
With culture, I can associate with a set of beliefs or that established norms or that has been followed for over generations that we have culturally.
What's your optional subject?
Economics.
Okay, good. I thought it was sociology.
No.
Right, go ahead.
I have to read about it a lot.
Right, I can make it out.
Thank you.
Right, tell me, Namrata.
When it comes to art,
Mhm.
it is something is an expression of an artistic talent.
Right.
That could be anything.
Mhm.
It could be not drawn on a piece of paper or something.
Mhm.
It could be even a song or a movie itself. So it's a form of expression, I would say.
Okay.
And culture is something that has been carried on for generations.
Right.
We have preserved over these years.
I'll ask you one very simple question. Art, I do agree, it's a creation of the mind. Okay, something you write on a paper, something you sculpt, all right, you create some architectural monuments. It's nothing but what you have thoughts in mind, you're giving an effect to it, a creation to it. Culture is a very, very broad term. The way we lead our life in the society is termed as culture. She told me that art is movies, art is all those kind of things. One very simple question. Do you think TikTok videos are artistic in nature? TikTok videos. Are they artistic in nature? Very subjective. Some people will say yes, some people will say no. Anyways, not a problem. All of you are serious people. I can make it out. Let's come back. Art is a creation of mind. Culture, on the other hand, is the way human beings live in a society. What is the relationship between art and culture? Any idea? Are they mutually dependent on each other? I think so, right. I think so. I think even all your friends think so. But I want you to give me an example how that is the case. How art influences culture and how culture influences art. Yes, Namrata, go ahead.
An example of the way the Panchayati Raj system has been enshrined in the form of
Mhm.
the deities, idols that have been placed in a circular form, and
Okay.
there is one major one in the center.
Mhm.
So that depicts the system of Panchayat. Like there is a centralization and then there is decentralization. So that we have carried on for over all these years, and this is something that I could relate. Furthermore, we can also see that various evidences have been, we can see that the Pashupati seal and all those seals and the coins, they do derive their
Mhm.
inspiration from this kings and the religious sentiments and all of that stuff. So
All of the stuff, is it?
Yeah. So
Right.
that was also there. So
Uh-huh.
I think it's both ways.
Okay. Any other examples? Come on.
Whatever happens in a society, in a particular culture,
Mhm.
can be shown and can be observed through art.
Okay. Any examples of that? See, I know all of you are writing for a generalist examinations, but when you're making arguments in your mains or in your interview classes, it should not be generalistic. You should convey through examples. You guys agree with me? Yes or no? Yes. Give me an example. How does art influence a culture and how does culture influence the art as well?
So the tribal people
Mhm.
used to make the goods.
Okay.
So that's an art as well as a culture.
Art as well as a culture, right. What are the various forms of Buddhism that we have in our country? The most major ones. Can you tell me? Mahayana and Hinayana, right, good. Ancient and medieval, is it done for you? Mahayana, APEC classes. Have you guys read about it at least? Not yet. Okay. Hinayana form of Buddhism. This is a very strict form of Buddhism which was practiced initially, okay, during the Maurya's time. Okay, Ashoka was a follower of Hinayana. In Hinayana, they do not worship Buddha in his human form. Alright? Now this is the culture of Buddhism during the Maurya's time. Now when I talk about the Mauryan sculpture or Mauryan architecture, how is this reflected in their art? That is what I want to find out. For example, what comes to your mind when I talk about Mauryan architecture? Can I say stupas? Right. In stupas, what do you find? What are the various things that you find? Anda, Medi, all those kind of things, right? But one of the famous things that you find is called as Toranas. And in Toranas, if you look at the sculptures, most of the sculptures that they have depicted in the initial part of the time, they have used symbols. Elephant is a symbol denoting what exactly? Elephant. In context of Buddhism. In context of Buddhism, elephant denotes what? Who was the mother of Gautam Buddha?
So the elephant was supposed to, she had a dream that.
Exactly. She had a dream. In Ashokan Pillar, what are the various animals that you find? You find horse, is it? Yes or no? Now, what was the name of the horse on which this particular person left his palace? Right. Apart from that, what are the other symbols? You find a chakra as well. Right? What does that signify? Dharma Chakra Parivartan. Right? The first sermon that he gave. So this was how art was influenced by the culture of those times. Now Mauryas happened. After Mauryas, who came to our country? Was it Guptas immediately or was it some other people? There were so many people, smaller kingdoms. And one such kingdom was called as Kushanas. Who is the famous ruler of Kushanas that you have to read about? Kanishka, right, very good. And Kanishka, what kind of Buddhism did he follow? Mahayana form of Buddhism, very good. And how was this reflected in their artwork? You told me it is Mahayana form of Buddhism. Sculptures, very good. What kind of sculptures they came up with? Gandhara school of sculpture. Buddha in his human depictions. Art at any given point in time is influenced by multiple factors. One of the factors obviously is culture. The other factor happens to be the geography. Anyone from West Bengal over here? Anyone? West Bengal? No one. Anyone has been to West Bengal? No? Okay. Let me talk about Delhi itself. Tell me some of the temples or the famous monuments that you find in Delhi. Right? Okay. Right? Apart from that? Okay, my friend, that one. Apart from that, the famous ones, monuments. Iron Pillar, okay. All of you are in ancient and medieval times, very good. What about the modern times? Akshardham. Arey yaar, can you not say Parliament, Rashtrapati Bhavan? Aha. Okay. I'll come to this. Rashtrapati Bhavan is a completely modernistic in its features. It has Hindu features, it has Islamic features, and it has the English features which was introduced by the Britishers as well. What I'm trying to say is, whenever you're reading about any artwork, be it architecture, be it sculpture, be it literature, make sure that you understand the time period in which it was followed, the geography of it, and more importantly, the influence that went about. All of you know about Gupta's time, right? Who were the Guptas? They were a bunch of fools. Was it? Who were Guptas? Gupta rulers. Who were Guptas? Come on. They were? Okay. Were they from ancient or medieval times? Gupta rulers? Ancient. During the Gupta's time, there was one literary work that was written called as Mrichakatika. What is Mrichakatika? Is it a play or is it something else? Is it a poem? Play. Right. You know who wrote this Mrichakatikam? Kalidasa. Vishakadatta. Oh my God. All of you are playing Kaun Banega Karorpati. Shudraka, right. Finally, it was Mr. Shudraka. What was the theme of this play? What was the theme of Mrichakatikam? It was a story of love story. Indians have always been obsessed with love stories from ancient times till the modern times, right? Love triangles, quadruple triangles, all those kind of things. In this, he talks about a love story between a Brahmin and a court dancer. How was the society like during the Gupta's time? Was it very rigid or was it very liberal as such? It was quite rigid. Manusmritis were being followed. And writing a play where he is showing a love marriage, he deals with all the interplays that was happening in the society. When you come across any major particular work in your NCRTs, please make it a point to read it. Not just knowing the details as to who was the author he dealt with. I want you to understand what was the major theme of it. Why exactly is it that the NCRT people have focused on it? Once you start reading art and culture from this perspective, I assure you, right, 9 out of 10 times, be it in your prelims or in your mains, you will be able to answer questions quite successfully, right? Whatever minimum days is left, make sure that if you pick up art and culture, you follow this method, nothing more than that, right? Now, what are the things that you need to follow? Basically, I've just repeated what I've told you, okay? So don't worry about that. Emphasize on revision. Have you guys started on art and culture or yet to start? Yet to start, sir. We are Indians. How many of you are engineers over here? Right. I belong to engineering people. Engineers, they don't unless it is the last day for the examination. Okay? Make sure that you finish off art and culture as soon as possible. Right. Moving on, understanding art and culture, I've told you that. Okay? Right. When did architecture began in India? Don't look at the slide. Tell me. Have you guys opened Nitin Singhania book? Right? Yes or no? I was seeing someone reading Indian polity. Okay. You're saying the architecture began in India from the times of the Mauryas. Indus Valley civilization. Okay. Apart from that, Indus Valley civilization, yes, I do agree, Nitin Singhania has started from that. Right. Even in the prehistoric times, there was always, okay, a sense of architecture in the people. But when they started with architecture, was it from an aesthetic perspective or was it purely from the perspective of utility? You know what aesthetic is? To create something for the beauty of it. Utility, मेरे को जीना है उसमें, I will make a monument or I'll create some kind of a roof house and that's about it. From the prehistoric times itself, we have some evidences of architectural traditions present in India. And these architectural traditions are called as megalithic monuments. In megalithic monuments, what you find is they have placed stones in a particular arrangement. In some stones, it is just one single slab of stone. In another instance, they have placed one stone, one more stone, and on top of that, there is a roof kind of a thing. There are various variations of such types of stones available. Most of the megalithic art that we have in our country is from South India. Okay? And the time period that we have dated this to is from 1100 BCE to 300 BC. What are the important megalithic burial sites? That should be your next question for your prelims examinations. Payampalli, it is in the state of Tamil Nadu. Adi Channaluru, it is in the state of Karnataka, is it? Halur is in Karnataka. Naikund is in Maharashtra. Takalgaj, Maharashtra. This place, Hirebenikal, this was in news in the last 1 year. They have made discoveries related to megalithic architecture in my state. Moving on. Can you tell me whether this image is found in India or is it in some other country? It is in which country? It is in United Kingdom and it is called as Stonehenge. This is also a form of megalithic architecture. Okay? When we are dealing with Bhimbetka cave paintings, I will be talking about one more place called as Altamira in Spain. Okay? Even this was famous for cave paintings. Here, the stones are arranged in a circular pattern. Okay? There are many multiple versions as to the importance of this. One of the things that they say is, some scholars say, that Stonehenge or this is a bit different than what I had imagined. Okay. Coming back to this. Lothal, it has a dockyard. And you also told me about Citadel. Very good. Is there any place in Indus Valley civilization where Citadel is not there? Chahundadaru. Very good. UPSC has this habit of focusing on certain important, unique features. This citadel, was it located on the western part of the city? Western part, very good. And what were the kind of buildings that was present within this citadel? Grid, I'll come to that grid-like pattern, but I want to talk about citadel for a few more minutes. Sorry? Placed in an interlinked pattern. I'm asking what kind of buildings? Was it public buildings, buildings which were of importance, or was it common dwelling places? Right. And what are the public places that you can think of? Great bath, great granary, everything great. Right? Great bath, it is found in Harappa or Mohenjo-daro? Mohenjo-daro. Great granary? Mohenjo-daro. Very good. So what you need to keep in mind is there are various important Indus Valley civilization sites which you will be learning in your ancient and medieval classes. Okay? From art and culture perspective, I will just be talking about the architectural traditions and things like that. Okay? But when you're looking at ancient and medieval, please make sure that you know the important discoveries that we have made in these places. Some of these places I've just listed out for you. Okay? Once I give you back the slides, go through these places. These places are not very exhaustive. Okay? Whatever places I've chosen, it is based on what UPSC has focused upon in the last few years. Okay? That's the thing. Kota Badli. Where do you find Kota Badli? It is in Gujarat. Why was it in news? That is what is important for me. Why was Kota Badli in news? Kota Badli. Pata nahi, sir? Maybe for fake currency notes. Why was Kota Badli in news? It was in news primarily because of the reason we have found evidences of the use of milk items in Indus Valley civilization. Okay? Now one of your friend was telling me about the features of Indus Valley architecture, and that is the grid pattern. The roads were cut at 90-degree angle. Yes or no? Right. What is the importance of it? When the roads are cutting at 90-degree angles, what is the important significance of it? Air can flow. Can I say it is the effective and efficient use of architecture or civil engineering? When you look at our roads in the metropolitan cities, be it Delhi, Mumbai or Bangalore, we have not got that much amount of sophistication done. Even in old Rajendra Nagar, there are so many gully spaces, right? But in this valley civilization, people at that particular point in time itself, they had figured out the grid pattern. All of you watch Hollywood movies, right? How do they divide the places? Do they call it in terms of some name? Blocks, exactly. Something which is so very modern was there in our country in the ancient time itself, the blocks part. Not just that, apart from citadel, these people also had an extreme and a well-defined idea of something called as irrigation canals. I asked you what are the attributes of a civilization. You told me so many things. One of the things that you forgot to tell me was there will be a surplus of a commodity. When you have surplus in agriculture, when you have surplus wealth generated because of it, you want to use that surplus wealth, you want to invest it in few other things and generate even more wealth for yourself. This is how our human mentality works. Yes or no? Right, very good. Give me an example of it. How surplus wealth was used to generate even more wealth in the present times or in the past. Give me an example for it, apart from Indus Valley civilization. Apart from Indus Valley civilization, give me an example of that. Anything? So it's 2 p.m. and you are asking me questions. I hate you very much. Is that the emotion or is it something different? Very recent, whatever. I am absolutely okay with it.
So recently, PM, respectable PM Modi sir announced that
Right.
India can export wheat or cereals to WTO in the times.
Okay.
That is something we have an extra surplus production of when it comes to MSP products,
Uh-huh.
rice and wheat, and we are exporting them to countries in distress like in Afghanistan, Mozambique, and also to WTO. That is another way of showing our soft power or maybe diplomatic power. So that is something which we can
Right.
leverage.
How many of you have been to UPSC interviews so far? Anyone in the class? UPSC interviews? Yes. One of the things that is taught when you are about to get into interview is very simple. When you are making certain arguments, always keep it as simple as possible. Keep the UPSC syllabus in mind. Is there any part in your UPSC syllabus which talks about an event or a phenomenon where a surplus wealth was used to generate a kind of a movement that impacted India as well? In any part, be it polity, be it governance, be it world history, as such, anything? Industrial revolution. Can I give this as an example as to how the food sufficiency that they had got for themselves, the extra wealth that they generated, they invested that wealth in modern industries. These people needed a market where they got cheap materials. They came to India. All right. India, after some time, was transformed into not just supplier of cheap raw materials, but also the user of finished goods of their countries, and it had a very major impact on the overall economic situation of our country, right? Something like this. Be as simple as possible in your UPSC mains answers as well. I think interview is good. Fine, you can clear it, but the major challenge for you is not the prelims, but the mains. And in mains, in art and culture, they ask you all sort of tough questions where you don't have the content for 150 words, right? So that's the thing. Apart from irrigation canals, what are the other things that they have, right? They have this great granaries. What does this signify? Having a granary? Food sufficiency, right? Very good. What they will do, what UPSC is doing as of now is it has moved away from the factual part of it. They are asking you analytical things. Consider the following statement. First statement so and so, second statement so and so. Right? So when you're reading something, be it Nitin Singhania or an NCRT, don't try to mug up the information. That's about it. Right. Moving on, the most famous thing happens to be the drainage system. What do you know about the drainage system of Indus Valley civilization? Sorry? Underground drainage system. Was it underground? It was covered. I got scared when you said underground drainage system. It was covered. What is the famous program that we have in our country for cleanliness and hygiene? Swachh Bharat. These people had an idea of Swachh Bharat back then itself. Alright? So that is what? Drainage system, you find the developed ones in almost all Indus Valley civilization sites as well. I told you, they built public houses, they built dwelling places. These dwelling places, they were not just one-storied building, there were multiple-storied buildings as well. We are living in a situation, in a society now where climate change is a fact. Alright? What Indus Valley civilization people did was when they built houses, they constructed it in such a manner that wind naturally flowed into the houses. Ventilation was there. Lighting was there. When you are building houses, if you have doors facing towards the door, obviously there will be pollution, common sense, right? So what this Indus Valley civilization people did, they built the doors at the back of their houses. Do we have such a system in our country presently? Chandigarh. Any other city? Any other places where they have doors at the back of the house? There was one question in your UPSC examinations. How is it that ancient traditions in our country are still practiced in our society even though it's been thousands of years? I'm just paraphrasing, I don't remember the exact question. Right? If you go to rural areas of our country, there are homes where the house is at the back. Okay? Please remember that. Right. Coming back. What are the other things that we have? Working people's quarters, right? And this was not located in the citadel, but in the other part of it. Okay? Double-storied buildings we have. Use of gypsum, right? Science and technology, innovation is also an example or a characteristic of a civilization. The bricks that they used, burnt bricks, very good. Was it uniform in size or was it haphazard? Uniform in size, right? They had advanced structural engineering knowledge as well, right? So these are the important points that you need to remember vis-a-vis Indus Valley civilization architecture and nothing more than that. Now my question to you is very, very, very simple. Tell me, Indus Valley architecture, was it more for utility or was it for aesthetic purposes? Utility, very good. That's all I wanted to establish now. As we move forward, in the next class I will be discussing about sculptures, we will be discussing about paintings. Remember this pattern. Whenever an art is established for the very first time, do you think it is extravagant in the first stage itself? Only later it acquires a sense of decoration, it acquires a much more better sense of aesthetics. When I talk about paintings, apart from the Bhimbetka paintings, what comes to your mind? Just tell me randomly, it's okay. Just a second. How can we contact faculties for doubt clarification after the classes? I'll be sharing you my Telegram ID, my friend. You can contact me then. Right. Ajanta? Ellora? Apart from that, everyone says Ajanta Ellora, my friend. Something other than that. They're very beautiful. What is so beautiful about them? Let me pull your leg for some time. Yes, what's your name? Gagandeep. Sorry? Gagandeep, right. Tell me, Gagandeep, what is so beautiful about Ajanta and Ellora? Aesthetically, it looks good. The stories they describe, very good, right?
They have been carved from a single stone. That's
Looks very good. Apart from that, anything else? Right, okay. Remember, if I tell you to draw India map on your book, all of you will come up with your own variations of India, what India is. And these people drew such extravagant things on the walls of a cave. Sometimes these walls were not smooth. They had to be smoothened. And the colors that they used, the chemicals that they used so that it was preserved, right? All these things is what UPSC is focusing upon. What happens with aspirants at this particular point in time is they read Ajanta Caves, it is located near Wagora River, Maharashtra, and that's about it. Please don't do that, okay? When you're reading about something which UPSC has focused upon in its previous year question papers, or you read it about in your NCRT, just make that extra effort to know something more about it. That's it. Alright? So this is about Indus Valley civilization. Now when they have citadel, can I say they had some notion of protection from external threats as well? Can I say that? Yes, please. If there is a consider the following statements where they have given you this statement. Indus Valley civilization architecture shows that there was a provision for protecting the cities, then that statement, is it correct or incorrect? Correct. Moving on then. Okay. Rakhi, it is in which particular state? Haryana, very good. Why was it in news, Rakhi? Why was it in news? It is supposed to be the oldest site. What is the largest site that we have of Indus Valley civilization? Right. Before that, what was the largest site? Not important, sir. It's established that Rakhi is the largest one, so let's stop at it. Okay. We discovered certain potteries as well. Okay. We'll talk about that in the later classes. Pottery is an important topic. Vis-a-vis art, you can classify into visual arts, performing arts. Okay. First we will talk about visual arts, something which you can see. The first topic is architecture, then we will move on to sculpture, paintings, and then pottery. Right. Moving on. This is an artistic impression, okay, of something called as National Maritime Museum. It is in news because the government wants to build a museum for the maritime legacy of our country. And where is it being built? Lothal, right? Why?
Because we just want to signify how our maritime ties with the Indian Ocean trade area and the countries of Mediterranean. We just want to just showcase the legacy of that.
Right. Someone said something from this side. Yes. From the back, is it? Okay. Lothal, is it a natural dockyard or was it an artificial one? Artificial one. Very good. Right? So that's the thing. The current affairs part of this. Moving on. After Indus Valley civilization, what happened in our societies? There are so many multiple interpretations. One of the interpretation that is accepted by most is the arrival of Aryans. There are people who say that Aryans did not come, Aryans were always the indigenous people. We will not get into that debate. Okay? Vedic Aryans. First phase of urbanization, did it happen during Indus Valley civilization or did it happen later? Indus Valley civilization. Vedic Aryans, they were completely opposite to that. They used wood, they used bamboo, they used reeds. It's basically a rural settlement. Nothing more than that. When you are building something, vis-a-vis this perishable materials, do you think we can find out the archaeological evidences of such kind of buildings? Highly impossible. But how have we got this ideas of Vedic civilization? You have your Rig Vedas, you have all your other Vedas. In them, they have given a fair amount of idea on how the society was at that particular point in time. Now this is an artistic impression of a Vedic society. Can you make it out? Is it clear? Is it clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. What do you see over here? Entrance gateway. Okay. Very good. Does it look like Torana? Yes, thoda bahut. Gurdwara. What is Gurdwara? The place where you let the cows in, right? This go, cow, yes, good, thank you. This go, is it used in any of the temple architecture, the term, in any of its features? Gopuram, very good, nice, right? So this is how the traditions of Vedic Aryans started to manifest itself in the later times as well. If you look at these things, these are nothing but boundary walls. If you look at these things, these are nothing but barrel vaulted roof that you will learn about. If I am going to ask you a question, architectural traditions of India, the present modern architectural traditions, were rooted in Vedic civilization rather than Indus Valley civilization, will my statement be correct or incorrect? You understood the question, right? No? If I am going to say that the present architectural traditions that we have, okay, are rooted in Vedic civilization rather than Indus Valley civilization, will my statement be correct or incorrect? You understood the question, right? Correct. So that is all I wanted to establish. Why exactly that is the case? There are so many multiple interpretations of that. Anyone with history as their optional subject? Any courageous students with history? Sociology? I just want to get a hang. Okay, anthropology? Okay, political science? Shubhra Ranjan, I know quite many people will be taking that. English literature? No one? Okay, no foolish people like me then. Right, coming back to this. Okay, so this is about Vedic Aryans. Moving on, the next important architectural traditions that we have to learn about is from Mauryan architecture. Okay, what kind of architecture is famous in Mauryan times? Here we have cave architecture. Here we have mainly Buddhist architecture, or do we have Jain and Hindu architecture? What is it that we have? Buddhist architecture. And what is the reason behind this? It was because of Mr. Ashoka, who established or who made Buddhism as his official religion as well. Okay. Now this is reflected in almost everything that he did. Be it Ashokan pillars, be it the stupas that he constructed, the chaityas, the viharas as well. Okay. If you look at these few things, that is much more than enough. Now coming back to this. Okay. Mauryan architecture can be divided into court art and popular art. Okay. Their art is characterized by one very unique feature where it is polished. If you look at anything, Ashokan pillars, if you look at their cave architecture as well, you can find out that it is very cleanly polished. It looks like as if it is shining. You agree with me? Right. What is this? Ashokan? Stamba, pillar. Very good. Someone says stamba. Very nice. I don't have that. I think. Okay, let it be. Have you guys seen Barabar caves? Have you come across that picture? Yes? What do you make of that picture, Barabar caves, where you have caves, there is this gateway. Here also, if you look at it, if you go back, it is polished. On that gateway, do we have any sculptural drawings, or is it completely blank? Blank. Are you sure? 50-50 option. Use a phone, anything like that. Open your phones, smartphones please. Open your smartphones and just say Barabar caves. Just Google it and look at the picture and tell me whether you find something on the gateway of it. Right, what exactly is there? Elephant is there, right? She's so very fast. I'm sure she's not using Vodafone. Right, coming back to this. Now, when we talk about court art, two things are quite important. One is Palace of Ashoka, located in a region called as Kumrar. And next is Pataliputra. Which famous ambassador came to India during the Maurya's time? Megasthenes. He wrote Indica. So many foreign travelers have come, and UPSC loves these foreign travelers to a very large extent. So you can expect some questions vis-a-vis that. UPSC has already done that. Okay, they have established a pattern. In Megasthenes Indica, he talks about these things. What is the major material that was used? Wood. Very good. And wood, was it used in the Indus Valley civilization or in the Vedic times? Vedic times. Another example as to how Vedic civilization provided a base for other architectural traditions. Wood is a perishable material. You have some archaeological evidences, you have literary evidences in Megasthenes Indica as well. Okay, but what we need to focus on are pillars, stupas, chaityas and viharas. Pillars. Now when you look at that image, is it cut from one stone or is it cut from two stones? One stone. How many of you say one stone? Please raise your hand. Why do you say one stone? Somewhere I read, sir. Please don't ask me the evidence for it. This is not a court. Any lawyers in the house? He's a lawyer, is he? Okay, tell me. You said something, right? Okay, right. Apart from that, anything else? Okay. Now when you look at these things, here where the differences are. Some people say it was made from one stone. But when you look at some other sources, they say it was made from two stones. Ashokan pillar can be divided into two. One is the shaft part. And this one is the capital part. Here, what kind of flower they have? Is it rose or lotus? Lotus. All of you are so enthusiastic now. Lotus. Good. If you look at over here, they have animals, horse, elephant. Again, symbols which were used in Buddhism. Are those Hinayana symbols or Mahayana symbols? Hinayana symbols. Please remember that. And lion. Lion symbolizes what in Buddhism? Enlightenment. Okay. Courage. Right. What does lotus signify in Buddhism? His name is Avalit Koshkara and he is also called as Padmapani. Right. Right. What lotus signifies is, lotus, does it grow in a very clean environment or in a dirty environment? Dirty environment, right? Now, even though we are living in a country or we are living in a society where we find Maya or illusion, our thought process should be clean, and that is what the lotus signifies. Is there any other image, sculptures, architecture where this message of living in a society which is filled with Maya or illusion is depicted? You understood my question, right? We are living in a world where there is Maya or illusion. You know that concept, right? Almost all religions talk of that. Tell me, any image, sculpture, architecture where you find these things? When I say Nataraja image, what comes to your mind? The dancing Nataraja, the dancing Shiva, right? He is dancing on flat surface, or is he dancing on any demon? Demon, right. That demon represents Maya. Now, how many hands does he have in that? 4 or 8? 4. Very good. In each of the hands, he has certain things. I'll talk about that later. You guys know about CERN, right? CERN, CERN. What is it? What is CERN? Super collider. Is it okay? But what is the objective of CERN? To find something called as God particle, which created the universe that we know. Higgs boson. Very good. Now, when you look at the Nataraja image, that image is of creation, right? That is also something that was used. Nataraja image, that sculpture, has been used in CERN. Okay, this was in use some years ago. Coming back to this, okay, Hinayana form of Buddhism is reflected in these pillars. Lions are not the only ones which are used. You also find bull. Right. This bull, is it sitting or standing? Sitting or standing? Very simple question. It is sitting as well as standing as well. Okay. All your Nitin Singhania books, they give you this image and that's about it. Okay. Please make sure that you look at few more images from the Google and then end your preparation on this topic. Okay. Right. Now apart from this, what is it exactly that we have to know? Where exactly do we find this Ashokan pillars? Topra, Meerut, Kausambi, Rampurva, that is the place where you find the bull. Champaran, Mehrauli, Lauria Nandagar and Vaishali. Ashokan pillars in Delhi was transported in Delhi by Firoz Shah Tughlaq, right? The Tughlaq dynasty. Some pillars had edicts, proclamations inscribed upon them. What kind of inscriptions were these? Were they religious in nature? Were they administrative in nature? What exactly was it?
Not religious as such,
Uh-huh.
like using religion for administrative purposes.
Right. The Dhamma principles were inscribed on it, right? Very good. Not all Ashokan pillars come with an inscription. There are just few Ashokan pillars which come with inscriptions. From prelims perspective, what more you need to understand is these inscriptions, these languages, in which particular script it was. It was in Brahmi script, it was in Aramic script, Kharosthi script. Very good. Oh, now what exactly do you know about Brahmi script? Tell me. What exactly do you know about Brahmi script? You're writing from left and Kharosthi you're writing from right to left. Okay, fine. I'll accept that. Apart from it, what exactly do you know about Brahmi script? Sorry? Pali language. Okay. Brahmi is called as mother of all scripts in India. I think someone told over here, right? Brahmi script is divided into north, it is divided into south. We will take that up later. But remember, these inscriptions were in multiple scripts. What does that tell? What story is it telling when I say Ashokan pillars were in multiple scripts? What? Inclusivity, or can I say it is the vastness of the empire which was reflected, okay, from Afghanistan down south as well, okay. Just remember when I've given you the places, westernmost Ashokan pillar, easternmost Ashokan pillar, northernmost and southernmost. Have this ready in your mind as well, okay. Right, moving on. Stupas. These stupas, are they of Mauryan invention or were they there before also? It was there before also. This is one more thing that you need to remember. Stupas, what exactly is it? Is it a mausoleum or it is a religious place where people pay their homage? Prayer halls. It's like a burial ground where people pray to Buddha. What does this contain? Stupa, it contains relics of Buddha. Story goes that Ashoka collected around 84,000 relics of Buddha and then he created 84,000 stupas. But unfortunately not all of them have survived. Only few important or only few stupas have survived, and in your UPSC examination the major three stupas that they focus on happens to be, any idea? Sanchi, Bharhut and Amravati. Apart from this, if there is any other stupa in use in that particular year, then that becomes important. What are the various features of these stupas? Stupas has a circular or hemisphere feature called as Anda. It has something called as Hermika, which is reflected in this. It's like a railing. Okay, a rectangular railing. Apart from that, there is something called as Chhatri. It has 3 colors kind of things. What does Chhatri signify? Any idea? It has 3 things. What does Chhatri signify in Buddhism? What does it signify? Buddha, very good. It signifies Buddha, his message, Dharma, Buddha Dharma, and it represents Sangha. If there is a statement when I say that Buddhist religion gave the concept of monastic religion, monasteries, will I be correct or will I be incorrect? Correct, right? You have all this Vinaya Pitaka which was written by a person called as Ananda, or was it Upali? Ananda wrote Sutta Pitaka. Vinaya Pitaka was written by Upali. Okay, right. Coming back to this, then you have something called as Medhi. It's like a first floor where you can touch the Anda and pay your homage, and then you have Medhi, Vedika, the lower part of it. Okay, what is important from the perspective of UPSC exams is Toranas. These Toranas, were they built during the Ashokan times? Not exactly. They were built a bit later. Who came after Mauryas? Who defeated the last Mauryan king and then established a dynasty? Shungas. And who was considered as someone who was against Buddhism? Which particular king? Pushyamitra Shunga, exactly. And this Pushyamitra Shunga is considered to be of Brahmanical person. But when you look at these Toranas, it came up during the Shunga times, during his time period. If there is a statement in your UPSC question where they are saying, alright, stupas, sorry, the Toranas, not Toranas as such, Pushyamitra Shunga was against Buddhist religion, will that be correct or incorrect? It will be correct. Or is it incorrect? Incorrect. Toranas, over here, remember these are all Hinayana features. Torana, when you look at it, it has many Mahayana features as well. The tales of Buddha's life, Bodhisattvas, are depicted there. Yaksha and Yakshini, these are also quite an important feature in those Toranas. Yaksha and Yakshini, are those entities worshipped by Buddhists alone? Absolutely not. Jains also worship it, and even Hindus worship it. There is one tree which is depicted a lot in these Toranas. Can you tell me what that tree is? Bodhi tree. People tree. That is where he got enlightenment, right? So please remember that. Where are the places where we find all these stupas? Rajgriha, Vaishali, Kapilavastu, Alakappa, Ramgrama, Vetapida, Pava, Kushinagara and Piplivahana. There's one more thing that I forgot. At the core of this Anda, it is built by unburned bricks and the outer part is burned bricks. Okay, that's about the stupas. Sanchi Stupa. Sanchi Stupa, it is located in the state of Madhya Pradesh. What are the important geographical features surrounding it? It is located in the gorge of Betwa river. This river, has it been in news in the last 1.5 years? Yes? Yes, why? Right, interlinking of rivers, very good. Here when you look at Sanchi Stupa, it is made of polished sandstone. When you look at Mauryas, I told you that one of the characteristic features of them was what? Their surfaces were highly polished. You can observe that in Sanchi Stupa. This figure is called as Sthala Banjika in some. It is also called as Mandakini figures. You find this figure in almost all major sculptures across time period. There was one particular set of temples or monuments which the government proposed to be included in UNESCO's World Heritage Site list. Can you tell me what that particular group of temples were called as? Sorry, Vijayanagara group of temples, was it? What was those group of temples called? Kanchipuram. Not exactly. Kanchipuram nahi. Hoysalas. Okay. In the last few months, government has recommended few temples in Hoysalas built during the Hoysala period to be included in World Heritage Sites. The reason why I am mentioning this is these Mandakini figures are an integral part of Hoysala sculptures as well. Okay. Here I spoke about Toranas. Mr. Ashoka, was he very satisfied of spreading Buddhism just in India, or did he want Buddhism to spread elsewhere as well? Right. Now give me some examples on how he spread Buddhism there using art and culture. Apart from the missionaries. Inscriptions. Okay, I'll accept that. Apart from that, there's one more thing. In these pillars, the edicts that we'll talk about it in the inscriptions, not to worry. Right. Come back. Art and culture. How can you come out with an evidence of Buddhism spreading to other regions in the world using stupas? The idea of pagodas, it is something that has origins in stupas. What is this structure called as? Torana. And Torana is something that the Chinese have also accepted, and it is called as, any idea? Pilu. And in Japan, it is called as Tori. Right? It is also one of the examples from an art and culture perspective as to how Buddhist traditions traveled to far regions in our world. Right. Sanchi Stupa, the stones for these stupas were bought from Chunar. Sanchi Stupa is also one of the World Heritage Sites we have in our country. How many World Heritage Sites do we have now? 40? Yes. Ramappa temple. Right. Is it 42 or is it 44? 42. Okay, very good. Right. Moving on. The next one is Amaravati Stupa. Look at this. It feels as though they have used marble, right? It is because they have used something called as white sandstone and polished it to a very large extent, which gives it an aesthetic experience where as if you feel that is built using marbles. Okay, this is located in the gorge of Krishna river, and this form of stupa represents Vajrayana school of Buddhism. There is one more kingdom which UPSC loves a lot, and that kingdom is called as Pala school. During the Pala school, what kind of importance was given, what kind of Buddhist form was given importance? Was it Hinayana, Mahayana or Vajrayana? Vajrayana. Very good. Now when we come to Vajrayana, what exactly is it? What is Vajrayana? Hinduism and Buddhism are combined in Vajrayana form of Buddhism. That is one thing. Tantric worship. Right, very good. What does this signify? What does this signify?
Mantra is a faster way to attain liberation.
Is that so? Apart from that, what does this signify? India, is it a melting pot or is it a salad bowl? Salad bowl. We have so many cultures in our country, so many religions coming up, and all of these religions interacted with each other more often than not in peaceful ways. In society, if there is a question like that with similar theme, you can use this art and culture point in your examples. Alright? That's the thing. Who are the travelers who are associated with this? Who sang, visited Amaravati Stupa? Who sang, visited during which particular king's time? Chandragupta Maurya, is it? That is Fahin. And this is Harsha Vardhana. HH. Okay? Right. What are the other centers which show this particular type of Amaravati Stupa? Nagarjuni Konda and Jagapeta and Goli, all in Andhra Pradesh. Now when you look at Amravati Stupa, when you look at Sanchi Stupa, there are certain differences. In Amravati Stupa, it is more ornate. It is more elaborately decorated. Alright? That is the thing. In Sanchi, it's not that elaborately decorated. Bharut Stupa, it is in Madhya Pradesh. Bharut is the name of not the river but the hill which is located nearby. What is the color that you can make out? Is it white? Is it brown or is it red? Red, because it is made from dark red sandstone. This dark red sandstone was mined from the Kaimur hills located in central India. And the person who discovered this is Alexander Cunningham. This fellow, have you come across him? Yes. In what context? Archaeological Survey of India. That's about it. Right. Gompas. Have you guys watched 2012 movie? Gompas. Yes. Very irritating movie. And that was a very irritating year as well. What were you all doing in 2012? Sorry? Class 8. Very good. I feel very happy for you. And I also feel very old now. In 2012, I was in my third year of engineering and there was this belief that world was going to end. Stupid thing. Right. And there were a lot many memes as well at that point in time. I won't get into that now. What happened was in that movie there was a monastery which was depicted in Tibet. Okay? Buddhist architecture has this Gompas also as one of the important features. Not many books cover that. Okay? Over here, Mahayana phase of Buddhism is prevalent, not Vajrayana, but rather it is Mahayana. Most of the Gompas or monasteries that we have in our country is located in the Ladakh region, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand. Rumtek monastery is located in which particular part of our country? Sikkim. Very good. We have so many such monasteries. Hemkund monastery is located in which state? Uttarakhand. Where is Hemkund Lake located? Hemkund Lake located. Just because I said it is Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, don't just get to that itself. Tawang monastery is located in which particular place? Arunachal Pradesh, right? It is mostly on the eastern side of our country, right? So this is about Gompas. I have given the famous ones. Hemis group located in Leh, Tawang Monastery, Arunachal Pradesh, Rumtak, it is in Sikkim, Namgyal Semo Gompa, right? Apart from that, Spituk Monastery, Lamayuru Gompa, Alchi Gompa and Shey Gompa. There are quite a few more. UPSC has focused on this in the previous years as well, right? So please remember that. When I came to the room, I saw one person who was reading about last 11 years previous year question papers. Was it you? Right. Are you doing art and culture? Not yet. I'll start at the late time, sir. Right. Moving on. This was the image that I wanted to show you. Sorry guys. Popular art, cave architecture. Who was the guy that gave Barabar caves? What are those caves named? Sudama and Lomas Rishi caves to Ajivika sect? Ashoka, very good. Now this Ajivika sect, who was the founder of Ajivikas? Makkaliputra, right. What is the famous doctrine that they follow? What is the famous doctrine that? What is that? Everything is predetermined. It does not matter whether you read NCRTs, doesn't matter whether you read Nitin Singhanias, doesn't matter whether you go to Vajiram or Insights or whatever the institutions, if it is in your destiny, you will get it. If it is not, you won't. That is what their doctrine means. Don't accept their doctrine. Okay, right. Coming back to this, if you look at these surfaces, they are polished. These are called as arches. Okay, when you go to Kashmir temples, if you look at their temples, they have something called as trefoil arches. All right, over there it is like this, 3 arches that you can make out. Remember these things because it will be repeated again and again even during the Islamic architecture time, the arches one, right? When you look at this, over here they have the images of elephants. Okay? Few more things that I have not spoken about in Buddhist architecture as of now is chaityas and viharas. Now, be it, I talk about Buddhism first. In Buddhism, the monks, they were supposed to travel around and they had to spread the message of Buddha. Okay? Now, this spreading of messages, did they do it all year around? Yes or no? No, they did not do it during one particular season called as rainy season. They needed places to rest, and even when they were traveling, they needed places where they can rest. That is how the concept of viharas came into the picture. Basically, because of utility purposes. They naturally carved certain rocks so that monks could rest in them. As the time progressed, all right, post-Mauryan times, chaityas started to become more famous. What are chaityas? It is nothing but prayer halls. When there are monks in the house, you need to have a prayer hall, right? Simple, common sense. That is what happened after post-Maurya times. Please remember that. What were the materials which were used in the Maurya's time? Predominantly sandstone. Apart from that, wood. Some of the chaityas that they built was from wood. Okay? And this wood has perished. But one of the evidences that we have in our country of this is in Baja caves in Maharashtra. Ajanta Ellora is located in which state? Anyone from Maharashtra over here? Right. What other caves do we have in Maharashtra, ma'am? Right. Ajanta Ellora, okay. Apart from that. Mahabalipuram, is it? Right. Elephanta, very good. Pandavleni caves, Baja caves, Karle caves. Right. So many caves are there. So in your examinations, if you are not aware and if you are forced to make a guess, please guess Maharashtra. All right? Coming back. Baja caves in Maharashtra, if you look at it, here you find pillars. This is called as apsidal back. Okay? And if you look at the roof, this is called as barrel vaulted roof as well. Right? Chaityas were famous for that. This design pattern you can find almost in all other chaityas which were built. What was the form of Buddhism that was followed during the Ashoka's time? Hinayana. This Baja caves also showcases that. Moving on. Post-Mauryan art. Much of the work that happened during this particular point in time was in the school of sculpture, which we will discuss tomorrow. But apart from that, what were the other architectural things that happened? Viharas were famous in the Mauryan times, I told you, but chaityas started to become famous in the post-Mauryan times. Where do we find examples of this? We find examples of this in Udayagiri Kandagiri caves, which is located in the state of Odisha. We have this inscription called as Hathigumpa inscription. Alright? It deals with Karvela kingdom. That is that place. You have one more caves called as Udayagiri caves. Sorry, it's not in Kandagiri, but in Udayagiri caves that you find Hathigumpa inscription. And this Udayagiri, it is in Maharashtra or is it in Madhya Pradesh? Madhya Pradesh, very good. Please remember that. Stupas, when I told you, in the Mauryan times, it was not elaborately decorated. It was simplistic in nature. But in the post-Mauryan times, it became more and more decorated. Stone became the chief medium rather than sandstone. Shungas, as I told you, introduced the idea of toranas. Right. Post-Mauryan times, from an architectural perspective, this much is more than enough. Now coming to the Gupta's age. Gupta age was called as what in Indian historical perspective? Golden age, to make your life complicated. Right? Why was it called golden age? Everything under the sun. Alright? Architecture, literature, painting, everything developed during this particular point in time. Yes or no? Apart from architecture, can you tell me few things about Gupta's age? They were temples, right? Temple architecture. Apart from that, economy. Example, please. Who said economy? Right. Land records, okay. Karashasanas. Numismatics. Science and tech, good. Literature, fine. Examples, Kalidasa. Who was the other famous playwright before Kalidasa? Brahma. Who was it? Basa. Right. You know Malavik Agnimitra? Malavik Agnimitra. Kalidasa, right. What is the theme of that? Love story again, see? Indians are obsessed with it. Agnimitra, he was the son of Pushyamitra Sunga. Very good. Right. There are so many things related to Guptas from the literary perspective which we will talk about later. Coming to the architecture part, here, before we move on to temple architecture, we have to talk about cave architecture. One more important topic that UPSC loves a lot. Ajanta caves. Ajanta caves are located in the state of Maharashtra near Vagora river. Right, Aurangabad, very good. Over here, the religion to which Ajanta caves correspond to, is it to one particular religion or is it multiple religions as such? Multiple religions, is it? Buddhism. It is for one particular religion, that is Buddhism. The multiple religion one comes in Ellora, don't worry. Okay? Now in this Ajanta caves, what kind of Buddhism is showcased? Is it just Mahayana phase or is it just Hinayana phase? Hinayana is also there. Hinayana and Mahayana, both form of Buddhism is present in the Ajanta caves. Next, my question to you is very simple. Which particular kingdom supported Hinayana and which particular kingdom supported Mahayana? Mahayana I have given over there by Vakatakas. What about Hinayanas? Ashoka? Not exactly. Who was it? Who was it? Have you guys heard about Satavahanas? Right. These were the people who were involved in Hinayana form of Buddhism in stupas. Okay? Whenever you're reading about caves, remember this. If you read about any architecture, sculptures are an integral part of it. Okay? Now coming to this, in Ajanta caves, you find certain sculptures. More importantly, you find certain paintings which are very important. Okay? The famous paintings that we have over here is about the Bodhisattva Avalitukeshwara, or is also called as Padmapani, because he is holding which flower? Lotus. Is lotus important for Buddhism? Did we come across lotus anywhere else? Ashokan pillars, right? Now, coming back. The other thing about this Ajanta caves is they have not used one particular color. You know which color is that? Blue color, right. One more thing. In Ajanta caves, you come across a guy called as Pulakesi II. Alright? He is associated with which particular kingdom? Vijayanagara, is it? He is associated with Chalukyas. And there is a painting where he is receiving the Persian ambassador as well. Each such caves will have certain important paintings or sculptures associated with it. Please make sure that you know about it. I told you about Udayagiri caves, right? We'll talk about it. In Udayagiri caves, what do you find? Which major sculpture they might ask you? There is a sculpture of Varaha. This is an incarnation of which god? Vishnu. Can you tell me the Dashavatara of Vishnu? In that same order. Not randomly, in that same order. You want to try? No. What are the 4 yugas that we have in Hinduism? Satyuga. Fish market ho gaya. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and then it is finally Kali Yuga. Okay. Krishna belonged to which yuga? Sorry? Dwapara Yuga. And who belonged to Rama belonged to which? Treta Yuga. Very good. When will Kali Yuga end? When will Kali Yuga end? 2023, 22? There is one Bodhi's disciple called as Mahakashyapa. Alright? He will be the one to receive the final avatar, not final as such, but one of the Bodhisattvas called as Maitreya. Very good. He will receive Maitreya, and once he receives Maitreya, that, no, sorry, not this, Kalki. Kalki is different. I went to Maitreya. I got confused. Right? When we receive Kalki, as per Hinduism, that is the end. When we receive Maitreya as per Buddhism, that is the end. Alright? Now coming back to this. In most of these cave paintings or caves as such, you find various such Hinayana and Mahayana face as well. So please remember that. And one more thing is, they have depictions of Bodhisattvas as well. Which exact depiction it is, we have to talk about it. The other important cave is Ellora. Ellora is again located in Maharashtra. Okay. Here you have three religions depicted. One is Buddhism, Jainism and Hinduism. It was patronaged by Rashtrakutas and Yadava dynasty. What are the important things that we have over here? We have Vishwakarma cave, Dashavatara temple, and more importantly, Kailashnath temple built by a person called as Krishna the First. It is excavated using a monolithic rock. Alright, that is the thing. Bagh caves, it is in Madhya Pradesh. One of the important parts of Bagh cave is Rang Mahal. You will read about many caves. Ajanta caves, it has inspired one particular cave the most, and that cave happens to be Bagh caves. Okay. Moving on, we have Junagadh caves located in Gujarat. Again, it is Buddhism. There is one more important feature of this called as High Citadel. This High Citadel is also called as Uppar Kot. Mandala Peshwar caves, this is in Maharashtra. The unique feature of this cave is it was converted into Christianity when the colonial empires came to our country. Udayagiri caves, Madhya Pradesh, Varaha image is famous over here. Okay. During the Gupta time, the stupas, their emphasis and their significance started to decrease. But one such stupa that they built, which is famous, alright, which is there in your NCERT is Dhamik Stupa at Saranath. Why is Saranath famous? That is the place where he gave his first sermon. Right, very good. Moving on, Karle caves, again we have Maharashtra. This has the largest Chaitya Griha in caves. I told you Viharas were a concept which was famous during Mauryas. Post Mauryas, Chaityas became a lot more prominent. Lion pillars in front of the Chaityas. Lion, the symbol of lion was always there, associated with Buddhism from the times of Mauryas. Kanheri caves we have in Maharashtra. Gautamaputra Satakarni's name is inscribed here. That is one of the features of it. Pandavleni cave. Elephanta is the name which was given by Portuguese because they found huge elephant sculptures. What is the famous thing over here? The Trimurti carving. Trimurti, when I say Trimurti, is it just one god or three gods? Three gods. Very good. Very nice. I'm so very happy. But in this case, it is not. Here it is Shiva. He has three heads in it. I'll talk about that in the sculpture part. Here, those three heads signify the process of creation, sustenance, as well as destruction. Okay? Please remember that. Temple architecture, again, coming back to Guptas. Temple architecture, as we know, the temples that we visit did not start like this. It had an evolution process. What are the various stages that we have? First, we started with a square building with a flat rooftop. It had pillars, and on pillars there was a flat rooftop. And there was just one deity in that. What are the examples of this type of temples that we have. Kankali Devi temple at Tigawa and Varha temple at Iran. Okay. This form of temple was in news not so long ago because there was a discovery made related to Gupta temples. Can you tell me which temple was that? Which temple was that? In which region was it discovered? UP? Kanpur? Come on, tell me all the names. We will discuss it, don't worry. The last part of today's discussion will be on current affairs. Just remember that. The second part is, now we had just a flat roof, then chakkar marne ka tha, isliye we constructed Pradakshina Patha, right? Or it became Garbhagriha. The examples of this is Shiva temple at Bumara and Latkana temple at Hayoli. After building the square temple, after constructing a Garbhagriha Pradakshina Patha, we needed to complicate things even more, right? Religion is not a simple thing, it's quite complicated. So what we did, we came out with Tara style. Here you build subsidiary shrines along with the major presiding deity. So what is the example that we have for this kind of temple? Almost all, okay? And temple architecture started to gain ground. The fourth is rectangular temple with an apsidal back and barrel vaulted roof. Where have we come across the design pattern of apsidal back and barrel vaulted roof? In cave, Chaityas, right? Another example of how Buddhism and Hinduism interacted together in a harmonious and peaceful manner. What is the example of this that we have? Kapoteshwara temple. Apart from that, the last temple is, if you look at this, can you make out this image? Does it look like a temple or does it look like some kind of a picnic spot? Picnic spot, right. Here we don't have shikaras. Here we have a circular feature with projections emerging out of it. That was the last stage of temple architecture during the Gupta's time. One of the temples which signifies this is Maniyar Mat temple located in Bihar. There are many temples like this with projections coming out of them. We'll talk about it. It is mostly in the eastern regions of our country. Okay? Right. Nagara temple. What are the important things that you need to know? Here, the shikara, is it pyramidal in shape or is it curvilinear in shape? It is curvilinear in shape. And it is not just shikara. You have amalaka and on top of that you have kalasha as well. Any one of you have experienced how a temple is consecrated? Anyone who has experienced it? Whenever a temple is created, once kalasha is put onto it, there is an elaborate process for a few number of days. You need to pour milk at it. All the people in the region have to do it. Okay? Right. UPSC will not ask that, sir. Why are you telling me that? That is what you are making your faces now. Right. Coming after that, you have something called as Jagati. You know what Jagati is? Right. It is a platform. It is an upraised platform, just like this. Okay. You have something called as Mandapa, dancing hall. It could be used for other purposes as well. Mandapa se Garbhagriha, there was a vestibule which connected it, and that vestibule was called as Antarala. That is something. Now when you look at the Nagara temple architecture, it is also following Panchayatana style, right? The boundary walls is not as predominant as we have in Dravidian style of temple architecture. The other thing is we don't have gopurams that we find in South Indian architecture in North Indian architecture in Nagara style. Okay, right. What are the various types of sub-schools under Nagara style? Over here, based on types of shikaras, you can define it, you can classify it into three types. One is Latina type, where the shikara is like a square. Vamsana, here the base is broader. Okay, and Vallabhi, where it is rectangular in shape. Amalaka and Kalasha, we have spoken about that. What is the other types of classification? We have Odisha school, Khajuraho temple and Solanki school. We look at all these things. Right, this is just a layout of Nagara style of temple architecture. Kandariya Mahadev temple, where is it located? Odisha or Madhya Pradesh? Madhya Pradesh, very good. To which deity it is given? Shiva or Vishnu? Mahadev, very simple. Right. Moving on, in Odisha school, here only the exterior part is decorated. What you see exterior, that is what matters. Interior does not matter. Maybe that was their logic. That is what they did. Exterior parts are decorated and you don't use pillars. The Shikara is called as Rekha Diyo. Okay, it is based on the shape of the Shikara, nothing more than that. Mandapa was known as Jagamohana. Boundary walls like Dravidian style is present in this one particular sub-style of Odisha school. What is the example of this? Sun temple at Konark, which was built by Anantavarma, or was it King Narsimha Varma? Narsimha Varma, right. Jagannath temple at Puri was built by which empire? Was built by which empire? Eastern Ganga dynasty. And you know what Kalyani is? Kalyani is nothing but like a temple tank. Okay? When you look at this feature called as Surya Kund, this Surya Kund you find in Solanki schools, in temples built in Gujarat regions. Who were the clans who ruled in this Gujarat regions predominantly after some time? Solankis. Rajputs, can I say that? And what is the story associated with Rajput clan? Were they from our country? They were born in our country. There is a story that says that Rajput people, alright, they were foreigners who married the Indians, the locals, and they had to give themselves a justification for their rule. So they said that they were born out of the sacred fire of Surya. Okay? There is a theory called as divine origin theory. What is divine origin theory?
So if a upcoming kingdom wants to establish that they are from divine origin, so they just turn around the story that they are from out there. So just to establish their supremacy, or just to establish the authority.
Right, to provide legitimacy, exactly. We will follow anyone if he or she says that they are from a particular religion. In Karnataka, there is this guy called as Nityananda. All of you know about him. He is so very well famous, right? I think he is famous in USA as well. That guy uses religion, and what I have not been able to figure out is very simple. He talks all stupid things, but still he has devotees. Alright? When you look at all major religions, they have tried to establish, or the kings or the rulers have tried to establish by invoking the name of the god, invoking the name of the religion. Devam Priya. Who called himself Devam Priya? Ashoka. Or was it Chandragupta Maurya? Ashoka. Very good. Now, there was a Mughal emperor who invoked jihad against a particular ruler in a famous battle. Who was that? Babur. Everything wrong with Mughals is with Babur or Aurangzeb, is it? Akbar, very good. Second battle of Panipat was fought between who and who? Akbar and King Hemu. In that battle, he invoked the jihad. In Delhi Sultanate time, some of the rulers traced their origins to Khalifas. Okay, all these things. Divine origin theory. Surya Kund is an example or a manifestation of Rajput legacy in that kind of a manner. Most of the temples are west to east. Here it is east facing temples. What are the examples of these type of temples? Modhera Sun Temple at Gujarat. There are so many country, okay? Modhera Sun Temple, Konark Sun Temple. We have Matand Surya Temple in where? Jammu and Kashmir. Arsavalli in Andhra Pradesh. Very good, right? There is one temple in Unnao as well. Okay, that is in the state of Uttar Pradesh. This is not that Unnao. This is different. It is in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, right. Coming. Yeah, all of you want that, is it? Yes, please go ahead. You'll have 15 minutes of break and then we will meet at 4. Thank you. There's always one person who has the courage to ask for a break. What's your name? Right, thank you. Right. All of you are here. Right. Okay. So we are done with Solanki school, right? What were the other sun temples that we spoke about? One was in Modera, the other one was in? Who built it? Konark Sun Temple, Ananta or Narasimha Deva? King Narasimha Deva, right? You know any stories associated with Sun Temple in Konark? Any mythological stories?
Once a year, I guess the sun comes exactly in the center of
Okay. That happens in few more temples in our country. Apart from that. Sorry? Time can be? Okay. Apart from that, there is this mythological story. There is a guy called as Samba. He is the son of Krishna. Okay. He was cursed by his own father. Okay. Many modern fathers do now. And eventually, it was the sun god who cured him. And there is a mythological story that it was built because of that particular purpose. And Samba built it. Okay, there are many such things. The reason why I am telling you this is because of the restricted constraint of time. I won't be able to get into the detail of each and every temple. When I give you the slides, one thing that I expect you to do is just go to the Wikipedia page or some other World Heritage site, proper source, and read few more things about these temples. That's it, nothing more than that. Moving on. So that was about the Nagara style of architecture. The other important style, the contemporary of Nagara style, happens to be the temple architecture in South India. The famous one is called as Dravidian style of temple architecture. And just like Nagara, even the Dravidian did not start in one go. There was a process to it. The first process was the Mahendra group. There was a person called as Mahendra first, the Pallavas. It started with the Pallavas. What he did was, he built the Rathas, okay? And you can find these things, not Rathas, sorry, Mandapas. And he built these Mandapas in regions such as Mandakapattu, Pallavaram and Mamandur. All of these Mandapas are located in Tamil Nadu. Now when I use the term Mandapa in the context of Nagara, what was it exactly? Mandapas? Dancing halls, halls basically, right? But here it is not like that. You remember in Nagara style, when we were discussing the 5 stages of the temple architecture, I told you pillars, flat roof, alright? It was what stage, first or second? First stage. The same thing, but the temple is excavated using one particular rock, monolithic rock. That's about it. That was the first stage of the evolution of Dravidian style of architecture. After this, we have Narasimha the first. He is also called as Mamalla. But his father built Mandapas. This guy was famous for Rathas. Ratha means what in South India? The same thing it means anywhere else, chariots. Alright? And he built few Rathas in Mahabalipuram. These Rathas are Draupadi Ratha, Arjuna Ratha, Bhima Ratha, Nakula Sahadeva and Dharmaraja Ratha. This Dharmaraja acted as a base for the evolution of structural temples that came about during the Rajasimha group. This guy is also called as Narasimhan Varman II. During this particular point in time, Shore temples in Mahabalipuram came about. This guy also built one more temple called as Kailasnath temple. After this person, Rajasimha, there is one more Pallava king who is important, that is Nandi Varman group. Here, the temples, the structural temples which were built by Rajasimha group, they were quite elaborate. They were quite imposing. All these things reduced to a certain extent during the Nandi Varman time. The obvious reason is quite simple. Pallavas, their role, their wealth started to decrease after Rajasimha. Okay. Now, coming back, what are the rock cut caves that we need to know over here, which was built during the Pallavas time? The Varaha cave, Krishna, Pancha Pandava and Mahisasura Mardini. Not so long ago, there was a bilateral meeting held between Indian Prime Minister and the chief of one more country, Chinese president, in Mahabalipuram. All right, in the backdrop of which sculpture, Descent of the Ganges. Okay, right. Moving on, what are the features of Chola architecture, or called as Dravidian architecture? After Pallavas, their successors were Cholas. What are the features of this? They have high boundary walls. Any particular reasons for having high boundary walls? Security, protection, right? Gopurams, the entrance gateways. This is something that we found in Vedic Aryans as well, right? Dwarapalakas. Before you go to Garbhagriha, there are two imposing, very fierce Dwarapalakas. This concept of Dwarapalakas, someone who protects the monuments, is it just restricted to Hinduism, or do you find the same concept in other religions as well? Other religions. Example, please. I told you. Buddhism. Example. Yaksha, Yakshini. There is one Bodhisattva whose name starts from, any idea? Padmapani. For everything it is Padmapani. There is one person, Bodhisattva, who is famous for the protection of Chaityas and Viharas. We will discuss about it. Any one of you have been to churches? Yes? Okay. In church, there are two patron saints that you find in almost all churches. Alright? And these two patron saints are given the responsibility of protecting the churches. Right? This is a concept that exists in almost all religions. Right. Coming back. Here you find temple tank, also called as Kalyani. Panchayatana style building of subsidiary shrines. This is there in Dravidian architecture as well. And Vimana. In Nagara it was curvilinear. Here it is pyramidical in nature. That's about it. And Dravidian temples are quite big, spacious, imposing entities. Any particular reason why these were imposing in nature? Any particular reason? Why do you think the Dravidian temples were so big, were so elaborate? Brihadeshwara temple, built by Rajaraja Chola, right. Apart from that, there was one more Brihadeshwara temple built by Rajendra Chola, right, and this was built in Gangaikonda, Cholapuram. Apart from that, why do you think we have such imposing figures of temples? Significance of ruler, yes. Now we have Apple phones to show off. They had only, unfortunately, temples. Cholas were a group of people who had become quite wealthy. They were involved in silk trade as well. Some of the Chola rulers went to Sri Lanka, annexed Sri Lanka, looted Sri Lanka, right? The wealth that they generated was showcased in the highly decorated, big, spacious temples that they built, right? Coming back, just like Nagara style of architecture, there are various styles, and this is just a crude classification. If you refer multiple books, you will have multiple such classification, but just remember this one because this is based on the shape of the Dravidian temples. Kuta, Shala, Gajaprihasta, Vrita and Ashtastra. Nothing more than that. Octagonal shape. We'll come back to that in one more temple architectural style. Apart from this, Pallavas and Cholas, there are certain similarities. Cholas incorporated their own unique features. In South India, there are other temple architectural styles as well. The first one is Nayaka style. The famous temple under this happens to be Madurai Meenakshi temple. What is the unique feature of it? The temples became larger. Apart from that, there was Islamic influence in Nayaka schools, in the arches. Alright, we'll come to that later. Now coming back to this, we have one more important style called as Vesara. Here it is an admixture of Nagara of the north and Dravidian of the south. It started with Chalukyas of Badami. There are temples that they built in Karnataka, Maharashtra region, Dodda Basappa temple. All of them, they correspond to Vesara style. Where exactly is the North Indian feature? It is in the curvilinear nature of Shikara. Where exactly is the Dravidian nature? It is in the square base. Okay? Who were the people who encouraged this Vesara style? Chalukyas, Hoysalas and Rashtrakutas. Hoysalas, have they been in news in the last 1 year? Yes, because the government has proposed certain temples built by the Hoysalas to UNESCO's World Heritage Site. My question to you is very simple. What is the process that UNESCO adopts in choosing a particular monument as a World Heritage Site? Unique. What is the process? I'm not asking about the criteria. There are so many criteria. World Heritage Sites. What is the process? Sorry?
Sir, a country has to give some recommendations.
A country sends, and they go through those papers. If anything is missing, they get back to the countries, and finally they have a committee which selects the temple, which selects whatever monument should be put under World Heritage Sites. Why is there so much of significance for a monument to be included in a World Heritage Site? What do we get?
It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be destroyed even during a war.
Is that so?
Yeah, it will be a war crime.
War crime, good. I'll come to that point. Just a minute, yes.
They will be maintained or financed by the
Uh-huh.
fund which is raised by this heritage.
International contribution for protection, sustenance of all these monuments. Right. Coming to the point that he made, war crime. Who rules Afghanistan now? Taliban, right. And Taliban and Buddhism, what kind of relationship do they have? They have a very complicated relationship. Yes, Banyan, this was in news. When the Taliban was in power, before they were overthrown by the Americans, there were these huge figures of Buddhas that they brought down. And it was not something that they brought down in one instance. They used guns and everything. It was like showing off to the world their Islamic heritage. That is not what Islam is about, but they did that. But now the Taliban has come back, and UNESCO is also very, very intelligent. After this was done, after these structures were razed down, only then it was declared as a World Heritage Site. Now that the Taliban has come into the picture, there is a fear that they will destroy such natural and historical heritages as well. Alright? And the Taliban regime has said that they will not do it, they will respect it. One of the primary reasons for that happens to be that they want to get investment from other parts in the world. Basically because they are bankrupt. All of us are focusing on Sri Lanka. After a few months of time, it will be in Afghanistan. After a few months of time, it might be in Pakistan as well. Right? Sorry? More or less already there. Pakistan is like a Ekta Kapoor's ka soap opera. Every day something or the other happens. And they always like to blame India. Coming back. Right. Now over here, yes, Chalukyas, Hoysalas and Rashtrakutas, they are famous for the Vesara style. The other school which is quite important is Vijayanagara. Here, they became highly decorative. There were so many travelers who visited during the Vijayanagara times. Can you name me some travelers? Vijayanagara, those who visited the Vijayanagara times? Right? Apart from that, anyone else? Domingo Pace, so many people, right? All of them give this one very good true picture of Hampi where they were selling precious stone as if it was cheap vegetables that was available to everyone in this society. Now we can't buy vegetables. Some vegetables are 100 rupees per kg only. Right, coming back. When I was in Delhi now, 2015, I was an aspirant and I think you can relate. You're trying to save money. Right? So my best place at that particular point in time was Moradabad ka biryani. Yesterday I came, now I'm earning decent enough money. So I came to the hotel, I opened the menu book. Someone else was going to pay for that. But the moment I saw the rates, my heart started to prick. How can someone pay so much money for this? Dosa was around 150 rupees. You give me 20 rupees, I'll take you to one very bindas hotel in Bengaluru. Right? Delhi has always been costly. There is a saying, Delhi is for whom? Dilwala ki. But unfortunately, Delhi is for paisa walo ki. Yes, yes. Very, very, very bad. Coming back. Right. So in Vijayanagara, it became highly decorative. In Vijayanagara times, there was also this culture where people started to worship the goddesses as well. And this is reflected when Amman shrines for goddesses were built along with the presiding deities. Right? Apart from that, Gopuram is usually on the entrance side. These people built Gopurams on all particular sites as well. Monolithic rock pillars, will come to that. There is a temple, Lepakshi temple, and that temple is famous for the sculpture of bull, which is considered as the largest in our country. Okay, Kalyana Mantapa. These were the places which were specifically built to enact the marriage between the god and the goddesses. Any one of you have been to Tirupati temple? Right. In Tirupati temple, every year they conduct this Kalyana Mahotsava. Okay. In Tirupati temple, is it associated with Shankaracharya or is it associated with Ramanujacharya? Ramanujacharya, very good. And Ramanujacharya, has he been in news for any particular reason in the last 1 year? Yes, for what? Statue of Equality, very good. Can you tell me a few things about Ramanujacharya? Few things.
He gave the philosophy of
Vishisht Advaita. Right, what is exactly that?
Advaita means that the Brahm and the soul are one. In Vishisht, it is qualified by the soul and the creation Prakriti.
Right. And was it simple enough for everyone to understand? Yes. Okay, everyone. Okay. Vishishta Advaita, I'll try to rephrase it. What you said is correct. I'll try to rephrase it. There is only one God, but he has many attributes. Basically saying what? Unity in diversity. Understood? Pakka? Right. That's the thing. Now when we come to Ramanuja Acharya, he was a Vaishnavite. Right? From which particular state was he? Karnataka or Tamil Nadu? Tamil Nadu. Very good. Now there was this one king called as Kulothunga Chola. Kulothunga Chola was a Shaivite or a Vaishnavite? He was a Saivite. He was a very orthodox Saivite, and he persecuted Mr. Ramanuja Acharya. Fearing persecution, this Ramanuja Acharya went to another state, Tamil Nadu's best friend. Who is Tamil Nadu's best friend? Karnataka. Very good. He came to Karnataka and he settled in a place called as Melukote. And in Melukote, we have a temple called as Chaluva Narayana. Okay, a form of Lord Vishnu. Right. Coming back. Right, Lotus Temple, Vittal Swami Temple at Hampi, Azara Rama Temple. It was built by Mr. Krishna Deva Raya, where depictions of Ramayana have been sculpted on the temple walls. Coming to the Hoysalas, here we have a star designed shape. From a rectangular, we have moved into a star shape. This type of soapstone that we have used is called as, became even more softer. The logic behind that is quite simple. For making sculpting more easier and more elaborate as well. Right? Apart from that, multiple shrines, something that we find in Vijayanagara school, upraised platforms, also called as Jagat. Right. In Pala and Sena School of Architecture, what are the examples of it? Universities of Nalanda, Jagadala, Odantapuri and Vikramshila. What kind of Buddhism did Palas follow? Vajrayana form of Buddhism. Since I came across Odantapuri, I want to just say one thing. There is something called as diamond angle. This is associated with Vajrayana. And the three places which are associated with it happen to be Ratnagiri, Udayagiri and Lalitagiri. It is famous for Buddhist sites in all these three regions. Okay, right. Coming back, what are the other examples? Daksheshwari temple in Bangladesh, curved or sloping bamboo roofs. This is an example of that. Any one of you have been to any temple in West Bengal? Over there, they did not use, which material did we use for temples? Sandstones and such kind of things. Because of the, they could not find it, they started using bricks. It is orange in color if you go to temples in Bengal. Coming back, terracotta bricks, right, that is what I exactly meant. Has there been any temple which is in news in Bangladesh where our president went and inaugurated it? Yes, what is the name of the temple? Kali. What kind of Kali? What kind of Kali? Joy Kali temple. Okay, right. Now I gave you one example where that influenced even Chinese and Japanese architecture, right? What was the name of that feature? Toranas, right. Now this word stupa is mentioned in a particular seal called as, and in that seal they call it as tube. You know where this inscription is, not seal, but the inscription. Where is this seal? Is it in India or in some other country? It is in another country in Nepal. And that inscription is called as Niyali Sagar. Okay, right. Moving on. The next thing we have to discuss about is Indo-Islamic architecture. When you look at from Vedic times till the medieval times vis-a-vis Hinduism, we used a lot of pillars. These people did not use pillars, rather they used arches and domes. This was the characteristic feature of Indo-Islamic architecture. The other thing is use of minars that you find in Taj Mahal. Over there also, is it built on a flat surface or is it built on a higher platform? Higher platform, right? They started using mortar, not the gypsum that we used. Spaciousness was the norm. They wanted to establish their religion in the society, right? The other thing is calligraphy. A decorative style of writing became important. Sculptures. When you go to any Hindu temples, they are an integral part of all the temples, sculptures, paintings. But when you come to Indo-Islamic architecture, why is it that we don't find such elaborate sculptures? Very simple question. You know the answer. No idol worship, exactly. They did not believe in that, right? Arabesque method. It's nothing but drawing linear patterns, okay? Jelly works. Here there is a window. It is perforated. That's about it. Charbagh style of gardening. A rectangular place divided into 4 gardens, watered by a particular river. Taj Mahal is watered by Yamuna, right. Use of pietra dura. Drawing on marbles. Foreshortening technique. Making something appear big, imposing, right? That is what foreshortening technique is. If you talk about Indo-Islamic architecture, what is the process from where we have to start? We have to start from Delhi Sultanate period. Slave dynasty, this style is also called as Mamluk style. Qutub Minar, Kuwaitul Islam Mosque, Adai Din Ka Chopra. Where is Adai Din Ka Chopra? Is it in Delhi or is it in Rajasthan? Rajasthan, very good. Now you have to tell me, people from Delhi. Qutub Minar was dedicated to which particular Sufi saint? Bakhtiyar Kaki, very good. Now Bakhtiyar Kaki belonged to which particular Sufi order? Various Sufi orders were called as what? Silsilas, right? Bakhtiyar Kaki belonged to which Sufi order? Sorry? Chishti Silsila, very good. Bakhtiyar Kaki, who was the person who started Qutub Minar? Qutubuddin Aibak. But Qutubuddin Aibak, he starts things, he cannot finish, much like UPSC aspirants. So it was completed by Iltutmish. Any other Delhi Sultanate ruler who was involved? Firoz Shah Tughlaq, right? He likes to add things. He added the 5th story for Qutub Minar. And the materials for Qutub Minar or Kuwaitul Islam Mosque All these materials, some of the materials were taken from temples. Okay, right. Khilji dynasty, this style of architecture is called as Seljuk style of architecture. Here they used red sandstone. Even during the Mughal times, the use of red sandstone was quite predominant. Who comes to your mind when I talk about Khilji dynasty? Alauddin Khilji, right? Excellently portrayed, madly portrayed by Ranveer Singh. He built Alai Darwaza, right? Who was the one who wanted to capture the world in Khilji dynasty? Just like Alexander did? Alauddin Khilji, right. Moving on. Tughlaq dynasty, their rule was very limited and it was being impacted because of various other reasons. Muhammad bin Tughlaq is famous for quite many things, good or bad things. Bad things mostly, right? So when you look at their artistic production during this time, it was limited. They used grey sandstone rather than the red ones. Sloping wall designed to give better strength. Sloping wall means, we focused on the last slide, such kind of things. The arches, rather than becoming rigid, they had a sloping style. This is called as batter system. Not important, don't worry. But where Tughlaq dynasty gave their artistic productions is, Tughlaqabad came up, Firozabad, Delhi, the Delhi that you know is built in one stage, or did it happen in multiple stages? Multiple stages, right? We'll discuss about this later, right? Delhi increased its size during the Tughlaq dynastic times. Lodi dynasties, these people were famous for creating gardens and they built their structures in octagonal shapes. Have you come across this? Octagonal shapes, where did we come across this? Sub-style of Dravidian architecture, right? Moving on, the one that you are looking at is the Provincial School of Architecture. This image is Charminar. Bijapur, what is it in Bijapur? Gol Gumbaz. It was built as a mausoleum and the person who built was Adil Shah. Now when you come to other schools, we have Jaunpur school, which is also called as Sharqi style. Here you avoided, when you look at the Indo-Islamic architecture, I told you one of the features was they used minas. But in Sharqi style, they avoided it. Paintings, you find more bold and forceful paintings. Anyone care to make a guess what is this bold and forceful painting exactly means? Bold and forceful painting, what does it mean? What they might be trying to tell you? Bold and forceful painting. Is Mona Lisa bold and forceful? How exactly did you tell me no? Tell me. It's good. Let's have a conversation on that. Mona Lisa is not bold or forceful.
So depicting violence.
Depicting violence. Naturalistic. Mona Lisa appears quite naturalistic. You agree with me? She has a very weird smile. I don't know what captivated people vis-a-vis her smile. But nevertheless, when you look at the paintings during this Jaunpur school time, they were not realistic in its nature, right? The things in the society, be it the trees, be it the colors, the way they were painted, if something is green, it became much more greener, the depth was added, exaggeration, right? That's the better word to use over here. What is the example of Jaunpur school? Atala Mosque. Malwa school, here they used different types of stones and marbles. Marble, the use of marble reached a peak during whose time? Mughal emperor's time? Shah Jahan. The source for it, many people say many things. Some people say it is the tomb of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Some people say it is tomb of Itmatud Dawla. Okay, UPSC will avoid that. Don't worry if it is controversial. Coming back to this, minars were also not used in this Provincial School of Architecture, much like Jaunpur school. Apart from that, what is the example of this? The example is Jahaz Mahal. Malwa school was influenced by Delhi Sultanate dynasty called as Tughlaq dynasty, where exactly even they had sloping walls to give more strength to their monuments. Example of this is Jahaz Mahal, Bijapur school. Here, their domes are world famous. If you go through multiple websites, they would say that this is the largest dome in India and second largest in Asia and something like that. But it is controversial. Okay? Remember, it is just one of the largest domes that we have in our country, in our world. That is more than enough. It is not the largest. We'll stop at that. Okay? And the other thing is, they started using double domes. Right? Apart from that, use of cornices. You know what a cornice is? What is a cornice? It is a projection above the flat surface, right? That is what a cornice is, and that became an important feature, right? You also call this as turret in European style, okay? Right. Moving on, Mughal architecture. Babur was a guy who was very much involved in building monuments or in expansion. So the artistic impact was limited. Kabuli Bagh Mosque in Haryana was the one thing that he built. Mr. Humayun, what does his name mean? Humayun? Humayun, what does his name mean? What does it mean? It means lucky, right? And Humayun, was he lucky in his life? He kept traveling because Sher Suri started chasing him, left, right and center. He was defeated by Sher Suri. Finally he won. But when he won, when he had to rule, he fell down from his library wall and lost his life. The greatest, luckiest person alive. Right. Coming back. He built a city called as Dinpana. Purana Killa is located where? Delhi. Right. That is associated with Mr. Sher Suri. Is that so? What mosque did he build inside Purana Killa? There is a mosque that he built inside Purana Killa, and that is where Mr. Sher Shah is associated with. Purana Killa is supposed to have fortified an ancient city which is mentioned in Mahabharata. What is that city called? Indraprastha. Right, that's the thing. Coming back to this. Sher Shah, he built Mosque of Old Fort, Rochas Fort, Great Road. He was very much into trade. Okay. What are the cities or the areas that he connected? Please look at that. He built his own tomb at Sasaram, Bihar. Red sandstone has been used. Akbar, use of red sandstone, and from here you see some Hindu features being implemented in his structures as well. He married a Hindu queen, princess called as Jodhabai, right? If you go to Fatehpur Sikri, the city that he built, you find multiple examples of that, Hindu features. He also used a Tudor arc, an European example of an European influence. Tudor arc is very much wide, okay? We came across an arc, I told you something called as trefoil arc. Where was this? In which particular style of architecture? It was in Kashmir. Any ruler who comes to your mind who was famous in Kashmir, who was called as the Akbar of Kashmir? Sorry? His name starts with the letter Z. Zen, right, very good, right? He also built a mosque in Kashmir which had this influence of arches, European style arches. He was also influenced by turret. Okay, right. Moving on, what are the things that he built? He built Agra Fort, Fatehpur Sikri, Buland Darwaza. These two things are associated with what? His victory over which particular rulers? Gujarat rulers, right. Salim Chisti's tomb, white marble. Now I'm going to ask you one very simple question. You guys have heard of Amir Khusro, right? Amir Khusro, right? Who was Amir Khusro? He lived during the Mughals time or Delhi Sultanate time? Delhi Sultanate, very good. Who was the saint that he followed? Nizamuddin Auliya, very nice. Nizamuddin Auliya belonged to which particular Sufi order? Chisti, right. Chisti Silsila is the famous one. Dara Shikoh, Naqshbandi. Are you sure? Naqshbandi. It sounds very controversial. Aurangzeb followed which order? Right, right. Dara Shikoh was very liberal in nature. That's why he translated many Hindu scriptures into Persian. Aurangzeb, he followed one of the most conservative schools. Right, right. He followed ulemas. Right? Bibi ka Makabra. It was built by Aurangzeb. It is a poor imitation of Mr. Shah Jahan's Taj Mahal. Right? It was poor because Shah Jahan used all the wealth. What was left for Aurangzeb? And Bichara, that is what he did. That is what he could do. Coming back to this, Jahangir, he built Akbar's tomb in Sikandra. Jahangir is famous for architecture or painting mostly. Painting. Shalimar Bagh, this guy loved gardens. Okay. Moti Masjid and tomb of Itmaduddaulah was built by his wife, Mumtaz Begum or Noor Jahan? Noor Jahan. Very good. South Indians get that confused. Shah Jahan, this guy was famous for painting or for architecture. He was famous for everything. Okay. Taj Mahal was something that was built by him. Red Fort, Jama Masjid, Shalimar Bagh, Shah Jahanabad and Peacock Throne. Okay. Kohinoor diamond. When did this Kohinoor diamond concept come into the picture? Can you tell me? When Babur sent Humayun to a particular place, that is where Kohinoor diamond was looted by the Mughals. Which place is this? Nasruddin. That comes later. I'm asking about Babur and Humayun. Homework for you. Right. Coming back, let's move on. We have to complete this. Kashmiri temples, yes, it has trefoil arches. I've told you this. It also is characterized by turrets. Right? Cellular layout and enclosed courtyard. Cellular, basically circular in nature. Right? Enclosed walls. Straight-edged pyramidal roof. Influence of Hindu temples in the region. Columned walls. This is an example of European influence. What are the examples of temples in this style? Marthan Sen Temple, Avanti Swami, Avantiswara, Pandratan Temple, Mamleshwara, Shiva Temple. Marthan Sen Temple, this one is quite important. Okay. Any other temples in the region which have been in the news, or any other religious sites which have been in the news because of that in recent times? What is Kartarpur Corridor? Kartarpur Corridor. Punjab, right? When we initiated and when we succeeded in finalizing the concept, many scholars said that there are temples in the Pakistan side of the region which India should explore so that the relationship between India and Pakistan improves. One such temple is related to which goddess? Shaktipit. Which goddess exactly? Saraswati. Right? There was one person who established a mutt in Sringeri for goddess Saraswati. Who was this guy? Ramanuja Acharya, was it? It was Shankaracharya. Any one of you have been to Sringeri? No? In Sringeri, it's located in the Western Ghats region, one of the most beautiful regions, right? There is an image of a snake giving protection to a frog. And snake and frog, what kind of relationship do they have? Very friendly relationship or an animistic relationship? Violence. It is enemy. They are natural enemies. But when Mr. Shankaracharya came with this particular site, when he witnessed it, he came up with that concept. You will read about Bhakti Sufi movement. Right? I told you Ramanuja Acharya, he was persecuted. But there are so many examples after that where Vaishnavism and Shaivism coexisted together. There are temples in the North Indian regions as well which have been, where the main presiding deity is either Vishnu or Shiva. But in the multiple shrines in the temple complex, you find Shaiva's image if it is a major Vaishnava temple. It happens in Lingaraja temple And Lingaraja temple is located in the city of Bhubaneswar, not the state, Bhubaneswar, right? That's the thing. Now coming back to modern architecture, the questions from this are quite limited. Okay, who were the people who came to our country, European people? The Portuguese. They brought with them a style of architecture called as Iberian style of architecture. They introduced the concept of patio houses and barrack style, garden houses, just remember that. St. Cathedral Church and Basilica Bom Jesus are examples of this modern architecture. Basilica Bom Jesus is dedicated to one particular Catholic saint. What is the name of that Catholic saint? Saint Xavier. Now, any one of you who knows what Jesuits are? Who are Jesuits? Do they belong to the Catholic or the Protestant side? Protestant side. No, they belong to the Catholics. Alright, Jesuits have been given the objective of spreading education in the society. Mr. Saint Xavier was part of this Jesuit movement. Have you heard of K.L. Rahul, Santosh Hegde? Santosh Hegde, have you guys heard of him? You know who George Fernandes was? Who was George Fernandes? He said yes. Who was George Fernandes? Socialist leader. Sorry. Defense minister. Right? George Fernandes, Santosh Hegde, K.L. Rahul, they were alumni of a particular college set up by Jesuits called as St. Aloysius College, which is located in Bengaluru. Okay? Vatican. Have you heard of Vatican? Why is it famous? It is famous for what? Who has painted the ceilings of Vatican? Michelangelo. He has used a technique called as fresco. What is the speciality of fresco? We will discuss that. When you go to St. Aloysius College, if you visit that college, they have a church. Okay? And in that church, whatever paintings is there on the top, on the ceilings, it has been painted from fresco technique. It looks much like Sistine Chapel. Alright? Right. Coming back to this. Let's finish this one off. British introduced the concept of Gothic style. Neo-Roman architecture. Where can you find this British influence? Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus. It is there in Mumbai. Right. It was built by which person? It was built by which person? Not the ruler. Architect's name. We had one more such architecture in Kolkata. Alright. This was built during the times of Curzon, and during 1935 Government of India Act, that was declared as Institute of National Importance. It was under the name of Victoria also. Okay. Any other examples of monuments built using British influence? You can talk about a Parliament, Rashtrapati Bhavan, where you find that. Have you seen Mysore Palace? Right? If you look at the palace, they are also built incorporating certain European styles as well. Indo-Gothic, a mixture of Hinduism, Islam and modern architecture. There are few architects that you need to remember from a UPSC perspective. Who built Chandigarh? Right, very good. That is the person's name. Edward Lutyens is associated with Delhi, very good. Apart from that, anyone else that I'm missing out? Who is famous for cost-effective housing in the state of Kerala? Cost-effective housing. Who is the person who built Sabarmati Ashram? Not the Sabarmati Ashram of the yesteryears, but Sabarmati Ashram, the museum. I want you to find out. That is one more exam homework for you. I will ask you that tomorrow. Okay? Right. Moving on, the famous Indian architectural monuments that UPSC loves. Surya Narayana Temple. It is located in the state of Andhra Pradesh, and the presiding deity is Sun God. One more thing that I want to emphasize to you now is, I've told you, I'll be providing you the slides. Do you want the slides, or you can manage without it? Right. So we are sitting here because of the slides only. If you don't give us, I'll not let you go to Bangalore. I'll give you the slides, don't worry. But remember, these are not exhaustive as such. Okay? What I want you to do is, in which time period it was built, and who was the person who built it. Just add those small details. Don't read it as if it is a Bible that you need to follow. The second is Veerabhadra temple. In Andhra Pradesh, Lord Shiva is the presiding deity. Based on Vijayanagara architectural traditions, it is also called as Lepakshi. You find over here the bull. Kamakhya temple, it is in Assam. It is part of Shakti cult, right? What is the speciality of Kamakhya temple? They celebrate fertility, right? When we have a society when fertility is looked as a taboo subject, here we have a temple which is celebrating that. In Khajuraho temples, what are the extraordinary features of those temples? Erotic images. We had an artist called as M.F. Hussain. You remember? Right. He was famous for his paintings. M.F. Hussain, he painted certain gods, Hindu gods, in a very erotic style, very sensuous style. And he was accepted, or was he criticized for it? He was criticized. And there were threats to his life, and eventually he had to leave our country. But in our society, sex education has always been an integral part. That is something that you see in Khajuraho temples. Apart from that, is there any other evidence to say that Indian society accepted sex education as part and parcel? Kama Sutra. All of you are so very fast. It was written by Vatsyayana. And to be very true to Mr. Vatsyayana, sex education is just one part of it. He has spoken about governance aspects as well over there. Okay, right. Coming back to this. The other temple is Somnath temple. It was in Gujarat. It was plundered by Ghazni or Gauri. It was Ghazni, my friend. Okay. It is built in the Chalukyan style, dedicated to Lord Shiva. Right. Moving on, Modhera Sun temple. It was in Gujarat. Sun temple Konark is in Odisha. It was built by Bhima I of Chalukya dynasty. Virupaksha temple in Hampi, built during the times of Vijayanagara. It is dedicated to Lord Vishnu. Hoysaleshwara temple, Karnataka. Okay, built during the Hoysala's time. Who is the presiding deity of Hoysaleshwara? Can you tell me? Either Vishnu or Shiva? Shiva. They have built one more temple called as Channa Kesava temple. And Channa Kesava is dedicated to Shiva or Vishnu? Vishnu. You see, Shaivism and Vaishnavism existing peacefully in our society. Moving on, Padmanabhi Swami temple. This is famous, very famous for the extraordinary wealth that the temple has. Okay, it is located in the state of Kerala. Lord Vishnu is the important deity, and they celebrate a festival called as Laksha Deepam festival once in every 6 years. Under the Nayakas, I gave you one temple as an example. What was the example that I gave you? What was the example? Madurai Meenakshi temple. Now in this Madurai Meenakshi temple, there is one festival called as Chittara Thai festival. Right? Please remember that. It is associated, Madurai Meenakshi temple, who is the presiding deity over there? Shiva and his wife Parvati, Meenakshi. Right. Moving on. Triambakeshwar temple, it is located in Maharashtra. Lord Shiva is the presiding deity, built by Balaji Bajirao. Konark Sun temple, yes, we have done this. 1000 pillar temple, Telangana, Vishnu, Shiva and Surya. You find all three people here. When we talk about Hinduism, there are various sampradayas. Sampradayas in the sense, various sects that we have. Shaivism is one of them. Vaishnavism is one of them. Shaktiism is one of them. The other sect, alright, Smartism, over there you have 5 deities who are worshipped together. Alright, 3 of them are here in Vijayanagara style. We'll come to that later. Ramappa temple, someone told me over here, it is in Telangana, built during the times of Kakatiya. It became a part of UNESCO's World Heritage Site. Brihadeshwara temple, Tamil Nadu, built by Raja Chola architecture. There is one more Brihadeshwara temple at Gangaikonda Cholapuram, built by Rajendra Chola. Which one is more imposing as per your estimates? Is it Brihadeshwara temple at Tanjore or Brihadeshwara temple at Gangaikonda Cholapuram? Is more elaborate. Very good, UPSC will love you. It's the other way around. Right. Moving on. Dakshineshwar temple, West Bengal, goddess Kali. Who are the people associated with Dakshineshwar temple? Ram Krishna Parhamsa and Swami Vivekananda as well. Very good. Moving on. Raja Rani temple. You have this in Odisha. When this Raja Rani temple was built, there is a saying that it had a main presiding deity. But as of now, if you go there, there is no such presiding deity. This is one of the unique temples in India which is known for the fact that this is a temple with no presiding deity. Here we have erotic carvings and it is built in the Odishan sub-style of architecture. Nagara. What are the characteristics of Odisha style of sub-architecture? Odisha sub-style. Which one is more elaborate, exterior or interior? Exterior. Apart from that, what are the other features? Unique features? No? Low pillars, no pillars, and they have used boundary walls just like in Dravidian style. Current Affairs 2022 architecture, ancient temple of Gupta discovered at Bilsar, Uttar Pradesh. You people were saying Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, right? This is one of the structural temples which has survived and which belongs to Gupta age. What were the other temples that we spoke about during the Gupta age? Did I mention about a Dashavatara temple at Deoghar? Sorry? Right. Now when we come to this Dashavatara temple, particularly at this temple, it is famous for one image, sculpture. You know what that image or sculpture is? What is Ananta Shesha? Vishnu sleeping in a sleeping format. Ananta Asana, you know what that is? It is one of the yogic posture. Alright? In Dashavatara temple you find that. Coming back, Konark Sun Temple, Odisha and Chandrabhaga Beach. What I want to emphasize is Konark, Odisha, you know a bit about it. Chandrabhaga Beach, it is famous for what? Nesting of olive ridley turtles. Very good. Reclining Buddha. We are in the midst of building very, very big statues. Statue of Equality, Statue of Unity, and we are coming up with a reclining Buddha statue in Bihar. Is Bihar famous for Buddhism? Lot many sites, right? I told you about diamond part. This diamond part, which are the cities associated with it? Ratnagiri and right. Coming back, Lingaraja temple, it is located in the state of Odisha. It is dedicated to Lord Shiva, but you find the images of Vishnu as well. Alright. Now Lingaraja temple was built during the times of Cholas. Western Gangas. No, not Western Gangas. Western Gangas were different. Okay. It was built during the times of Somavamshi dynasties. Keshari was the ruler associated with this. Joy Kali temple, we spoke about it. Hagia Sophia, Turkey. Is this a church? Is this a mosque? Or is this a museum now? Now it's a mosque. We're living in a society where leaders, instead of trying to attract the people through policies and programs, they're trying to use religion. Mr. Erdogan is one such example. Right. Previous year question papers, Dravida, Nagara and Vesara are three main racial groups of Indian subcontinent. See, it is the three main styles. You should have written exam in 1995. It was so very easy. Some of you might have not been born then, right? Which one of the following monuments has a dome which is said to be one of the largest in the world? Fourth, very good. Sasaram is there in where? Tomb of Shersham. In which particular state? Bihar. Very good. That's it. I've given the explanation for other things as well. Jama Masjid, Shah Jahan, Ustad Kali. Who is the architect of Taj Mahal? Sorry, same guy, is it? Have you guys heard of Ustad Ahmad Lahori? Right. Now you have heard about it. Moving on. Tomb of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Indo-Islamic style, red sandstone. I've told you, Tughlaqs were not very famous, but they introduced a system of sloping walls to make the monument even more stronger. Which one of the following temples figured in the news regarding the institution of Devadasis? Forget the options for the time being. Devadasi, what do you know about it? Devadasi, what is it? Bharatanatyam dances. Okay. But do we have Bharatanatyam dance in Jagannath temple, Pasupatinath temple in Kathmandu, Kandaria Mahadev temple in Khajuraho, or Chausani Yogit temple in Bairagat? Jagannath. How exactly? What is the logic? We will discuss about a classical dance called as Odissi. Right? In this Odissi, you have the contemporaries of Devadasis called as what? It starts with the letter M. Sorry? It starts with the letter M. They are the contemporaries of Devadasis. We'll discuss this eventually. In Jagannath temple, right? That is nothing but the counterpart of Devadasis. Right? Maharis, that is what they are called as. Right, now you remember.
Yes, sir. And it is the oldest classical dance, Odissi.
Is that so? Many Bharatanatyam people will not agree to it. Let's move on. Right, I've given the explanation of all these temples. What is important over here is Chausat Yogini temple. Was a question based on Chausat Yogini?
2021,
Last year and also this year also. Where? 1996. UPSC has this habit of repeating these questions. The way they frame it will change. Why is Chausat Yogini temple famous? What is Yogini? What is Yogini? Female. Okay, very good. Very smart answer. Yoginis are female people who followed yogas. There are 64 such yoginis. You find that in this temple, Chausat Yogini temple. It is built entirely of granite and it is circular in nature. Right? That's the thing. Lingaraj temple I told you. Ekaram temple, it is also called as Ekaram temple. The reason being, Aam is which fruit? Mango. It is located near that region where mangoes are grown. Okay? Right. Consider the following. You should be able to answer this quite easily. I hope so. Tughlakabad, Lodi Garden, Qutub Minar, Fatehpur Sikri. The correct chronological order in which they were built. Tell me. Very fast. B. Qutub Minar, Tughlakabad, Lodi Garden and Fatehpur Sikri. 3, 1, 2, 4. Right, correct. B. D. Correct chronological order from the earliest till the latest. Fatehpur Sikri was Akbar. Right, the first one was Qutub Minar, slave dynasty. Qutbuddin Aibak, very good. Then came Tughlakabad. Then came Lodis and then came at the last Akbar. Right. The striking feature of Jama Masjid in Kashmir completed by Zain-ul Abidin includes turret, similarities with Buddhist pagodas, Persian style. B. Buddhist pagodas, it was the region where Buddhism was quite prevalent. Even though you don't know exactly about it, you can make an assumption. In the beginning of the class I told you, whenever you're looking at an artwork, look at the geography, look at the influences and that will help you to come at the right answer. Moving on. Hoysala monuments are found in Hampi is famous for Vijayanagar, Halebeed and Belur. There are 100 such Hoysala monuments in my state. Right. In which of the following cities is the Lingaraj temple located? Right. Match list 1 with list 2 and select the correct answer. Sisupalgarh is located where? Piprivaha is located where? Golpara is located where? Bishnupur is located where? Sorry? B is 4. Answer is what? Okay, Sisupalgarh, Odisha, Golpara. It is in Assam actually. C is 1. Do we have C as 1 anywhere? A and C. Right. Between this, tell me what is the right answer. Bishnupur. Right. Bishnupur is Manipur. It is famous for what? Vishnu. It sounds similar to which god? Vishnu. Right. Sankirtanam. Right. Vaishnavism. We'll talk about that. So what is the right answer for this? Right. Moving on, which of the following is correctly matched? Vikramshila Monastery, Uttar Pradesh, No. B. What is the right answer? D. Amravati Buddhist Stupa. In the initial times, art and culture questions were very easy, right? UPSC has had the reversal of mind in recent years. Which one of the following is not correctly matched? Dankar, Himachal Pradesh, Rumtek, Sikkim, Tabo, Himachal Pradesh, Kai, Arunachal Pradesh. Kai is located in Himachal as well, Spiti Valley. Okay, this one is wrong. The initial design and construction of which massive temple took place during the reign of Suryavarman II? Suryavarman, these are temples which are not, the first three temples are not located in India. Sri Mariamman temple is located in Singapore. Angkor Wat is located in Cambodia, and this Suryavarman guy was associated with it. Batlu Caves temple is in Malaysia or Indonesia? Indonesia, right. Kamakhya temple, it is in Assam. Right. Sorry, Malaysia, Batu Caves, not Indonesia. Where is the famous Vijay Vitala temple having 56 carved pillars emitting musical notes located? Hampi, right, during the Vijayanagara times. Where is the famous Virupaksha temple located? Right. Match list 1 with list 2 and select the correct answer using the code given below. Vidya Shankara temple, Raja Rani, Kandaria Mahadev, Bhimeswara temple. Right. Right. What is the right answer then? Vidya Shankara is a temple in Karnataka. Okay. And Bhimeswara temple, we discussed about one temple, the temples that UPSC loves. Veerbhadra temple is also called as that. Okay. So the right answer is what? Bhimeswara is Andhra Pradesh, D is 1. Vidya Shankar is 2. Raja Rani is 4, 2, 4, A only, right?
Yes.
Right.Moving on. With reference to the history of Indian rock cut architecture, consider the following statements. The caves at Badami are the oldest surviving rock cut caves in India. Wrong. It was during the Chalukyas that it came about. The oldest one, Barabar rock cut caves, were originally made for Ajivikas by Emperor Chandragupta Maurya. Ashoka. Right. At Ellora, caves were made for different faiths. The right answer is 3 only. Consider the following historical places: Ajanta, Lepakshi and Sanchi Stupa. Which of the above places is or are also known for mural paintings? Ajanta is famous for mural paintings. I told you about Padmapani, Pulakesi, right? Lepakshi temple, it is famous for Vijayanagara style of painting, something we will discuss later. Sanchi Stupa, it is famous for sculptures, not for paintings of any sort. So it is 1 and 2 only. Some Buddhist rock cut caves are called chaityas while others are called viharas. What is the difference between the two? B. Tell me that answer. That's it. Chaitya is the place of worship while vihara is the dwelling place for monks. Ibadat Khana at Fatehpur Sikri was the mosque for the use of royal family, Akbar's private. He wanted to discuss. Right. Any other rulers who set up institutions for discussions like this? Harshavardhana, right? What you will read about him in his ancient history classes. With reference to the cultural history of India, the term Panchayatan refers to what? A style of temple architecture. With reference to the art and archaeological history of India, which one among the following was made earliest? Lingaraja temple at Bhubaneswar, rock cut elephant at Dauli, rock cut monuments at Mahabalipuram, Varha image at Udayagiri. Right, this rock cut elephant, I'll talk about in sculptures. It was depicted during the times of the Mauryas. Dauli is in which place? Maharashtra or Odisha? It is in Odisha. Elephant, again, a Hinayana symbol. What is or the common two historical places known as Ajanta and Mahabalipuram? What are the common things? Both were built in the same period, is it? No, right. Mahabalipuram came a bit later. Both belong to the same religious denomination. Right. Both have rock cut monuments. Yes, right. Which of the following is or are famous for sun temples? Arsavalli, Amarkantak and Omkareshwar. Only 1. 2 and 3 are not famous. What I want, one more homework, is list of sun temples in India, because for some reason UPSC loves it. Okay? Right. With reference to the cultural history of India, consider the following statement. White marble was used in making Buland Darwaza and Kanka at Fatehpur Sikri. Red sandstone and marble were used in making Bara Imambra and Rumi Darwaz at Lucknow. Both Bara Imambra and Rumi Darwaz, they were built in a provincial style, okay, Awadhi style. And they used stone, not the red sandstone or marble. The first one, white marble, was used in making Buland Darwaza and Kanka at Fatehpur Sikri. Remember, Akbar loved red sandstone. Okay, he was a very practical guy, not like our Shah Jahan. That statement is also wrong. So the right answer for this is neither 1 nor 2. Akbar, for any particular purpose, was he famous for paintings as well? He started something called as Tasveer Khana. It was like a school for painters. We'll discuss that. With reference to the cultural history of India, consider, again, building Kalyan Mantapas was a notable feature in the temple construction. Vijayanagar, right. With reference to Chausat Yogini temple situated near Morena, consider the following. It is a circular temple built during the reign of Kacha Pagata dynasty. It is correct. Please don't ask me to pronounce it again. It is the only circular temple built in India. Whenever they have given you only, avoid it. It's wrong most of the times. It was meant to promote Vaishnava cult in the region. Not exactly. It is Yogini. It is associated with goddesses. Its design has given rise to a popular belief that it was the inspiration behind the Indian Parliament building. This is right. This is something you would have come across if you read NCERT books. So the right answer for this is option C, 1 and 4. Which one of the following statement is correct? Ajanta caves lies in the gorge of Vagora river, right? Sanchi Stupa is in Betwa river, right? It's not Narmada but rather Godavari Krishna. Amravati Stupa lies in the gorge of Godavari. No, it is in the Krishna river, right? That is about architecture. I will come back to architecture again and again when I will be discussing sculpture, when I will be discussing World Heritage Sites. Any doubts with what we have discussed till now? Was this helpful for you, making art and culture a bit more simplified? Yes, sir. Pakka? Yes, sir. How's the Josh vis-a-vis art and culture now? Yes. Right. Thank you then. I'll see you tomorrow. Yes. Class 11 NCERT slides and just follow certain important information. If government has any website dedicated to the temples, just follow that. Don't read anything other than that. Right. Okay, and just one more thing. If you have any doubt related to art and culture, you can reach me on my Telegram ID, UMESH 199101. Right, thank you.